Stocks extending gains here this morning, adding to what we saw yesterday in the afternoon on more optimism that we're heading in the right direction with the Middle East conflict. Oil downside in a big way here this morning. Crude futures down about 3%, sitting here currently with more negativity to come potentially. Meanwhile, that's how the NASDAQ is setting up here so far this morning after we went out on a huge push to the upside yesterday. 2-week notice apparently coming through from President Trump. That is the timeline that we're working with. It would appear at this point that this war could be done and dusted by 2 weeks. Meanwhile, individually, Tesla to the upside this morning. Really nice numbers coming out of Europe. Sales numbers month over month, 203% to the upside for Tesla. So Tesla just taking out the highs here back to 380. People not enjoying paying for gas, it would appear, once again. That's how Nike is looking right now. Not a good report after the close yesterday. I mean, there was basically nothing in that was positive. The forecast week as well just broke 47, not even trying to take back 47 currently. So lots to think about this morning. You saw him out of the gate there. Joey Options is on the big desk this morning. We're running a little short on bodies this morning. So
a couple of us on vacation, yep, absolutely. But no, to add to your point there, Brendo, not too good of a look for Nike. 20% down in China sales, lowering the guidance. You're down 12% here, so it's a little bit tougher of a look for the athlete.
Yeah, I mean, we sat here yesterday. Sharif and I were kind of discussing the simple fact that this is not only a look at the retail, the state of retail currently, but also the potentially, anyways, the relationship between the U.S. and China going forward, because absolutely. I think not only along with the NVIDIA negotiations and conversations, I mean, a company like Nike that's been there for, let's face it, long time, is probably going to be, in that conversation with Trump and Xi.
And highly dependent on the China sales as well, too. So if those are starting to dwindle, it's a bit tougher of a look for the brand.
Energy names as well back in focus this morning. As we said, crude down better part of 3%, WTI anyway. Brent also off the highs. I mean, I just had a look at the dollar, guys, 3 days in a row here, absolutely plunging. Rates to the downside 3 days in a row as well, the 10-year and the 30-year down big time this morning. That's what happened if you missed it yesterday, just after lunch, I guess it was, mid-afternoon. Had a huge plunge in energy stocks across the board. We're gapping lower once again, 2 weeks, it would appear, the target date here to wrap this thing up. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning, and hopefully, I think it's a target that everyone will be happy, I would think, if you see conflict ramp up or end promptly. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of energy names that are going to be in play today. For now, I think we're looking pretty good. We're underneath 125. So, like, the last couple of days, if you looked at USO, it's like there's been, like, it was like a bottom yesterday and then the bottom to start the week was right at the 125. There's some resistance overhead, and now you're right back under that. So as long as we hold under there and don't get some headlines suggesting otherwise, or maybe some kind of escalation, things are looking well. Like, we're already up 1% after what was one of the biggest up days in a very long time for the overall market. I mean, you had gains to the left of them, gains to the right of them. Crypto Bitcoin was okay. It didn't even get to the 70,000 mark. You've got Oracle, which was up like $6 or $7. They're making another move up 2% today. It's just unfortunate that Nike had to be so trash, be like the only real earnings name. Although Dave & Buster's reported and they're up, but I don't think anybody cares about Dave & Buster's, unfortunately. So yeah, Nike is the blemish on the market, unless you're holding, I mean, like Oxy and CVX and XOM are all going to be down, but that's because energy's down, and they've been doing so well. But yeah, Nike just didn't do it last night, unfortunately. So 11%, and there's not much after it lost this 50 level when you really think about it. So this one's going to bleed, unfortunately, but it already was. So.
We got word. I mean, President Trump going to be speaking tonight.
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so we'll hear about the war. Apparently, a couple more weeks. We'll see. As that timeline keeps getting extended, it feels like. Apple, I'm on my mind today as well. Apple looking like it may want to break out through this little level right here of 255. So we did have a little dip down, supported itself at the 200 period. Now looking long through 255 is Apple. So I definitely like that stock here this morning as well. Bitcoin 68.5, so that's trying to make some moves. We talked about being a little disappointed. We talked about this with Brian about how Bitcoin really hasn't been able to get going yet. And we'll see with this lack of a market right now in the broader markets helping Bitcoin continue its lower move. And we'll see today up 1%, maybe something to be bought here in the 200 period back at yesterday's close for Bitcoin. So I think that would be something there that I'm interested in. Here today up 1%, so kind of matching. Maybe if we do get another risk on day, we could see iBit and BTC continue its move higher there, right? Obviously, we talked about some of the reversals that we had seen in oil yesterday. The market reacted, crypto going out right around 38 bucks. So we'll see if we get a pullback into that today. Went out at 38.50, so down to 38 looks like a decent level there for iBit. And yeah, I mean, the other name I wrote down today, I can talk a little more positively about this because Adair is not here, but Oracle. I mean, yeah, yesterday they had a huge move, you know, and to me, Oracle's looking pretty nice right now down here near these lows. You know, 135 to 140 has been a good little level there. It's held it all the way back to February. We got a dip down again late February, and then right there, end of March, boom. Nice move higher there as well for Oracle. So this is the kind of names that are on my watch today. I think it's going to be, obviously, at now, I should say, I don't know what it's going to be, but right now it's looking like a risk on day as we hold this 50 period all the way. Would like to see us test VWAP again before bouncing back further. So we'll have to look at that. And then Neil messaged me yesterday because a lot of people were asking as well about Fannie Mae. We had a big move the other day in Fannie Mae from 5 down up to 8. And then back in a little bit yesterday. So we can see if this name comes back in as well at another key level here of 750 for FNMA. So we can look at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac they're not going to do volume in the pre-market, but we'll see what they can do here as there's that move down into the close yesterday for FNMA. So we'll see if they can get something going today as well. BMNR, you know, there's just a whole bunch of stuff going. You already talked about oil down 4% or so.
Almost.
There, yeah, here's the K contract. Right now, yeah, 98, so we now broken back through $100. Yeah, I have USO down a little bit more, I guess, but right now, actual oil down 283 downside and looking lower. You know, I think fading oil is right today. So I think we'll wait for some pops there. As we'll wait to hear, I mean, I think Trump was going to talk positively. I think that's the one thing you got to think about for
Can't
tonight.
see it not.
Yeah, it's like I mean, everywhere I look, right, the number one stories on the news is energy prices. You know, so I feel like he's going to address those tonight, and the only way to get it going is by more positivity, I would hope. But I guess he could turn it the other way.
I think it'd also be a good sign. It'll be a good sign if this is all done and you don't have to look forward to like longer, like more escalation of conflict. Once we actually get back into earnings season, then it'll temper some of the conversation that you might see from CEOs about uncertainty. Because you did hear that with like Nike's call, like they actually mentioned, that it's obviously bad right now, but then there's still some potential geopolitical and input cost uncertainties going forward, which didn't help things. And it was already bad to begin with, but there was certainly concerns there. And because it's the beginning of the month, remember, we're going to get some EV delivery numbers at the beginning, always get them to start the month. Right. So we'll await Tesla as well, some good gains in Europe for them. And everything, I don't want to say everything, but most everything is going to have a similar, in the 15-minute, like V-shape-ish kind of look. So you want to, like, I'm looking for the names that are maybe not diddling right in the middle, or like they've gapped, like they've run, but maybe we haven't gapped too far past like a support you could bounce off of, or trying to travel into a new area. And I like the names that have bounced on some strength, relative strength. Like AMD here, holding that 200 period moving average. This never really broke down. So ultimately, if this is the turnaround, as bad as it got for AMD was to hold the 200 period, that's a pretty good sign of strength for them. And looking at this name, kind of like this one back into some prior highs. I mean, you got the close at 4-ish, it's like 3.5. And then you got this prior high at 6, which give you a couple of levels to work off of. So yeah, a lot to look at in here for sure, because you're gonna see a lot of names that are basically just gapped up without needing an individual catalyst. There's a lot of 2% type of move, 2-3% up stocks where they don't really have a story, but technically can look really good. Like CCL, you could look at the airlines and the cruise lines there. Robinhood's going to be up 3%, and they've been getting absolutely smashed. SoFi is going to be up almost 3%.
Oh, good.
They've been getting smashed as well. There's no particular story there, unless you think it's somehow Encino sympathy. It's not. So it's just really about the strong market. One thing before we go back to the desk that stood out to me, though, at least a little bit for now, silver's down, just slightly. Gold was up, and I believe it still is if I double check. It's maybe about the same as the market, but silver down 0.5%. This was a good runner, and I still think it's broken this trend, like that downtrend. But it's one of the few names out there that actually has a breakout trade because it happens to be down, and it's still good in my opinion, as long as it can hold on to 66.5. But worth keeping an eye on here. Watch that US dollar, obviously, for any effect it's going to have on the metals. Yeah, but looking pretty good so far to start today, boys. I didn't see, Eno Sharif's not here, but there was only one big-time small capper that was really worthy on the list, and that was like the CYCN in some kind of a combination. But plenty to watch here regardless, because there's going to be a lot of movers in the big cap space.
It might be worth looking at some small cap energy names this morning. We're heading back towards day lows here, session lows for some of the energy stocks this morning. The major, I guess, talking point here is it seems like the UAE is going to get in on defending or maintaining the flow once we get the Strait of Hormuz open. At the end of the day, for any of these countries around that region, it's just an absolute no-go to have an unlimited upside on risk premium when so much of their economy relies on that being open. So it looks like the UAE is going to get in on the defense, at least, of keeping the Strait of Hormuz open once it does get back flowing once again. We touched on the electric vehicle side of things with, I saw 182 gas prices around here this morning. The electric vehicle side of things looking like it's already benefiting from this. I was just reading the note on NIO. So not only Tesla, as Neil was mentioning, delivery numbers across the board here coming out of China. NIO, 136% upside on deliveries. It looks like BYD was more than that, almost 200% to the upside. That's the note on Tesla. If you want to break it down by regions there, 203% overall in Europe, specifically in France, 203% in France, 178 in Norway, 143 in Denmark, 96%. So right across the board. This thing had a huge move yesterday when the market started to go, and here we are up big time again, trying to hold 380 here.
Well, that's what you would expect here, Brendo, especially with what we have going on in the Middle East, is that you would think you'd see a little bit of an uptick in some of these EV companies, and that's good. We're starting to see that in the Europe sales here with Tesla as well, too. So I think that's a positive look for some of these companies. How sustainable is this? I think it's just more or less a one-off once these oil prices start to come down. $2.10 for 93 at the pump. That's 5% higher than what I was actually seeing them during COVID times, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable to say the least. I saw a note the other day, I think it was 2 days ago. There's this whole back and forth between our Prime Minister, Carney, went over to China, did that deal that is going to see some of the electric vehicles being brought from China.
50,000, I think it was around 50,000 or so,
being brought into Canada. Trump came out the other day and said, if that actually happens, if you go and buy a BYD in this country, they're not going to let you drive it into the U.S.
That's something Donald Trump would typically say. So, can they even allow that? I'm not even sure.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Right?
You get to the border and they say,
no, BYD.
Go home.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see how that plays out, guys. But yeah, some of the EV names looking pretty good here this morning. The one I haven't seen yet is this one, XPEV. It's up anyways with the rest of the market overall and this group overall. But Tesla specifically looking really good this morning.
Yeah, as we get into this morning talking about some EVs, this portion of the show is brought to you by PropShop. Because if you're an equity trader and you're looking to scale, PropShop Trader is a multi-asset proprietary trading firm designed to remove the typical barriers that traders face. You can trade stocks without pattern day trading restrictions and no licensing requirements, while also accessing futures markets within the same environment. Prop Shop Trader offers both day trading and swing trading programs, giving traders the flexibility to manage multiple accounts and deploy different strategies. Why risk your own capital if you don't have to? Scan the QR code and unlock 60% off your first account, plus buy one, get one free. Get started today. You can scan the QR code you see on screen out in front of you. And when talking about, we're just talking about the EVs, NIO, yeah, so you got some good month-over-month numbers to end the month. I mean, I know the market rallied yesterday, but NIO had a program buy on this thing for the first half an hour of the day yesterday. And it's one thing to say the market rallied, and then all of a sudden they get the good delivery numbers, and it's literally not moving right now. Well, I mean, someone made a good guess. The funny thing is, I'm reading a book. The book I'm doing right now is it's 11/22/63. It's a Stephen King novel, but basically the story is a guy goes back in time to stop the Kennedy assassination. So obviously, when he goes back in time, how he funds his lifestyle, but he gets a job too, is he bets on sports.
Oh, cool. That's fun.
But this is
doesn't work out.
Well, he wins, but it's the 60s.
Okay, so he's dealing with the wrong people.
So therefore, there's no reputable place, so he has to deal with mob and whatnot. So he keeps getting basically messed up. But they send guys after him because this dude must be
because he's winning too much money.
Because he keeps winning these long shots. And so when you see program buying like that on NIO, it's make it subtle, baby, so someone doesn't come out and kneecap you. Anyways, this stock actually has been in somewhat of an upward trend. And it does bear watching as long as it holds the 6 level, because there's a bit of a breakout happening on NIO, whether you like them or not. I worry about today whether you're going to get the bump you normally would because of how big yesterday was. But I think as long as it can hold on to 6, this could be an interesting one. And even if it dips today, it held 6 all afternoon yesterday, so you might get a situation where this stock dips, and it might just hold right in around that even dollar, risking only a couple of pennies to be able to get a bit of a bounce. But I feel like this put in its work far too much yesterday to like it much, to be all over this report today and trying to go too bullish on it. I'd rather almost buy that dip if you can get it at 6.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the same thing there. Back to the Future was pretty cool there with Biff Henderson grabbing that newspaper and trying to predict the sports almanac over there. I love that. That's a great movie.
Classic.
Yeah, it's Michael J. Fox obviously can't do another one, but that would be that was awesome. They probably did too many of them anyway. So what was the third one they went to? It's a Western or something like that.
The third one they went back.
Yeah, that one was maybe they.
It was a little ridiculous.
They did do that a little bit too much there. All right, so there's that number. Just came out 62,000 in March, better than expected. So that's nice. So we get a better than expected jobs number. Not going to be helping, obviously, the interest rate decision anytime soon. Looks like they will not be cutting and potentially even increasing. So that may help with that thought there as well. Yeah, I was just looking like Tesla yesterday had a problem all afternoon breaking through this 373. I mean, it was a top at noon, and then it was a top at 3, it was a top at 4, and then, of course, today it blows the top up that 2.5% as we talked about EV deliveries. We just talked about NIO as well. And yeah, I think that, despite Tesla being in such a doghouse right now, I mean, just looking at the daily chart for TSLA, you can see it's been pretty, straight, not in a straight line down, but, pretty evenly stair-stepping down. You do get some big days and then it just gets whacked, right? I mean, it's like the most we've had is 2 days up, 1, 2 down, 1, 2 down, 1 down, 1, 2 down, 1, 2 potentially down. Again, here's 2 up days again, whack, down. Oh, we had 3 right there. But, I still like the long, so I do think we do get hit back a little bit here today. I mean, up 1%, I think we're getting a little frothy with a lack of news, but I do think moving forward, positivity seems to be there. Looks like we're holding yesterday's big, huge move. And if we do get a dump in, I don't think, it's not on my radar takes, I don't think we're gonna get into this level, but 73 to 74, we've seen that happen before, especially off open. Yesterday's open went from 360 to 365, $5 in 5 minutes. So can we make the other way today? I don't see the reason for this right now to fall back down $5. I mean, if the market was down even 0.5% or something like that, I could see some profit being taken with Tesla being up this high. But right now, a fallback in 374, 375, I think I'm a buyer. That's your 200 period moving averages. So, you know, Tesla, definitely risk on day for Tesla. Doubling the market, up 2 and a bit percentage points. The other EV names starting to go as well. I like Tesla here today. Maybe it'll make the list, but I think it's something that we wait for and hope that it drops down into that 374, 375 area, but potentially not on radar yet. I have Apple, USO, Oracle right now written down. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good level here for Tesla. Let's just see if it gets back in 375. I'm a buyer.
All right, just recapping, the weekly ADP number coming out there, a little bit downside versus what happened last week, 63,000 versus, or 62,000 versus 63 last time around. Coming up at 8:30, we'll get retail sales for February, and then there's really not much else. A few Fed speakers, 9:05, 9:13, Muslim and Barr coming up. New York Fed bill purchase as well coming up at 9:20, and then the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI data at 9:45, the ISM version then at 10 o'clock this morning. That one typically moves the market a little bit more, so it's Wednesday as well, so we'll get the energy data at 10:30. Remember, really the only thing that matters this week is going to be on a day when we're not even here. Friday, market is closed for the Good Friday holiday. We'll get non-farm payrolls on Friday, so we'll get a reaction from that, no doubt, coming up on Monday as well. As far as the macro picture at this point, I mean, everything is just seemingly hinging on what's happening with, you know, these headlines coming out of the Middle East. But let's just put on our what if hats for a second here, if we do start to see some of these energy prices coming back down. I mean, I was listening to Bloomberg this morning. They were talking about 5+ years to get some of the infrastructure that has been destroyed back online and back producing at the levels that it was producing prior to all of this starting. So even if the Strait of Hormuz is open and flowing again, it's not at this point. Nothing has changed. So this is all very speculative at this point. It's still going to be a while before we see the same kind of production coming out of that region.
And with Iran as well, obviously, with the deal, they're going to want the U.S. to pay for some of this as well, too, for some of the damage that they've done. So I don't think this is going to come to a conclusion anytime soon, guys. And as Brendo just mentioned, it's going to take quite some time for everything to get operational and back to running how it was before.
I don't think the market, though, that being said, all of that being said, I don't think the market, though, is really hinging on the economic impact of this so much as the guys were just mentioning. Remember, right around the corner, we're back into earnings season. Week and a half.
2 weeks, I think,
week and a half,
JPM,
2 weeks, we'll get right back into the banks and then full-fledged earnings season again. So once we start to see what the actual numbers coming from some of these big companies are like, that might have a bigger impact.
Even more impact, yeah, exactly. And I was just reading as well, too, Brendo, that Microsoft looking to spend an additional $5.8 billion in Singapore, $1 billion in Thailand over the next couple of years as well. So remaining CapEx heavy with this AI infrastructure build out. Yeah. The street may not like that because they're currently not. Down 35% at its lows, Microsoft.
Yeah, but at the beginning of this week, it was just right at the lows. 2 days potentially in a row here, guys, back higher for Microsoft. Yeah, that's a big price tag, but I mean, a company like that obviously can afford it. If we're going to see any kind of significant bounce here, you really want to see some of these NASDAQ names participating.
Oh, for sure. I mean, although I got to be really, it's a little bit hard to get excited about Microsoft's bounce here when you find out that Tilray actually beat Q3 adjusted EPS expectations. 2 cents per share, Tilray, versus a miss of 0.14. No one cares about Tilray. No. But I'm going to say it anyways, because, hey, they didn't lose money. The EPS was positive. So we'll give them that. Got to say it at least, and it's an excuse to hit that. No, for Microsoft's sake, the good thing about it being the start of the month is, hey, you get monthly candles. I know Michael Moss gets jazzed up about it. Realistically, I think obviously this is going to be a popular stock for bounce. Again, the last 5 months have been an absolute absolute dumpster fire. I mean, the top got made half a year ago, but the last 5 months when it really accelerated. But we've just managed to close, and I'm talking barely. Basically, it closed on the 50 period on the monthly. Like, it closed right down there. So that's kind of the line that's going to be important, because you have a wick bottom into a support level, into the 50 period on the monthly. So this is a crucial month. And if we hold on to 70, as long as the longer we hold on to 70, the better that this looks on Softy. So that's like the line. That's a line that's going to be important on the really higher time frame. I don't know how much that's going to matter on a day trade, but we did close right at it. So it's even like a pullback in a prior closing. And there's a bunch of stocks where I'm going to feel that way. Like, it's just until I feel like we have a bit of a reprieve and we have a short-term turnaround here. So why not look for that red to green or green to red kind of story, and that's when you would give up the notion. But Softy isn't top of the radar. I think there's just, I already mentioned AMD, there's a lot of other things that look a little bit stronger, if I'm being real, that look just a little bit better and didn't have the same concern, or as big concerns going into the war. Because remember, there were a bunch of Mag 7 and growth names and AI names which were already showing signs of weakness before the war started. So it's not like Meta's an example of that. So I think you have to really pick and choose and maybe not overreact to it. One level that certainly is going to get watched for me is this Amazon 213 triple top. Right, you get wipe out bottom, it bounced pretty clean off 200, and you got a triple top at 213 with some gap room above it. It's got some work to do to get there today, but that's certainly a level that bears some watching, and you're also trying to break like a little bit of a downward trend here on Amazon. So yeah, nothing wrong with Microsoft, but it's the monthly chart that has me happy. The thing is, if you start the week by losing that support on the monthly, then nothing matters on Microsoft, whereas Amazon didn't make a fresh low during the conflict, actually held on to the 200 level and is trying to break back out. I kind of like the ones that didn't break down. Apple didn't break down. Amazon didn't really break down any more than it already had. So they stand out just a little bit better than Microsoft to me.
Yeah, you don't have to figure out which one to choose if you sort of like them all. I think that the MAGs, we talked about this before, this is your MAG 7 ETF. I mean, absolutely beat up. I mean, it looks a lot like that Tesla chart where we just kept on making ticks down, but now you're getting a couple good days here, including yesterday and today. I mean, that's it. But what a blowout bottom potentially down there, $55. I mean, that came all the way back to last February. Obviously, we're nowhere near the sort of tariff lows, but at the end of the day, this might be a safe way to play this whole space. And that way you get a little bit of Meta, you get a little bit of Microsoft, Nvidia. I mean, we know what the Mag 7 is. Apple's involved in there, Google, right? So you're getting everything all wrapped up into one little package here. So instead of just choosing which one you like, which I think Microsoft and Meta, they both have their negative sort of downwinds there. But if you do think they've been beat up a little bit too much, you can grab this ETF, take it for a ride back to the upside there. You get the Google benefit of that as well, a little bit of Nvidia sprinkled in here. And this is the Mag 7 ETF. So I think this is prime, for a tool to get back to the upside if you didn't want to buy the whole index. Like, the NASDAQ I think is maybe a safer play because you get everything involved. But, this Mag 7 ETF's been something that I've been looking at and have never invested in it or anything like that, but something to talk about if you're uncertain on, the big pie has been cut in half or, not half, but, down a lot there. You might want to get your piece and make it easy and pick up the mags. So this is just all 7 of them, all equally divided up. So I just wanted to bring that ETF to everybody's attention. I mean, it's going to look very similar to that of the Qs, right? So they don't move too differently. But if you want to get some exposure there, and we're uncertain of which, the only thing I think that's not, and obviously Palantir is going to be a little bit of a different beast, but that one came close enough to back into that 130 level. I mean, it got to one. Thank you, Randy. It got to 136.
Breakfast is here.
I want some coffee, but what is it? What is it? Is it the scrambled eggs? Oh, it's McMuffins fun. Oh, the little muffins. Those aren't egg.
I thought it was the breakfast sandwich.
Those aren't egg McMuffins.
McMuffin signifies sandwich.
I'll come get some of that in a second there. Thanks, Randy. Yeah, they've stopped that. Maybe it's too much carbs on the bread, maybe. But right down in there, I like this. Palantir's not involved, but I think this is another name, right? I mean, we got more talking about more government contracts over the last couple of days. We see the way this war is going. It's not slowing down anytime soon. And I mean, with this drone sort of, that's why, air environment, AVAV, something as well, that probably moved like, it's even low, 187. I was wondering if it was holding 200, but with drone warfare being a thing now, you're going to need to be precise. You're going to need to get cheaper too, right? I mean, you can make these drones for under 100 grand, less than that, and they're blowing things up, and it's costing millions of dollars to shoot them out of the sky. So I do think that Palantir, the more precise, the more you can involve this technology into the planning and what war, what fights, battles look like moving forward. I think Palantir is part of that story. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting level for them as well today at 150. So we'll see if Palantir gets going. Remember, Palantir's beta is pretty strong. If the market starts to go, we've seen Palantir go, right? I don't even know if Palantir was up yesterday, but it looks like we opened the day at 140, closed the day at 147, so $7 upside yesterday in Palantir. I think we can have that today. Although,
interesting, it didn't
I don't
close
think
off
we're getting a 3.5. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, we got really excited there at about 1 o'clock. That's pretty close, though. That's 147.50, 147. But yeah, did everything close at the highs yesterday?
A bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but there's that bump up again at 1 o'clock. So yeah, a lot of things held that level. I know. I mean, I don't have Palantir added on there, but anyways, yeah, we'll see what's going on.
Bit of a bump in USO, not much, but
bit of a bump. Okay, good. I want to
yeah, like it just popped, it popped $1. That 125. The only reason you say 125 or to say 125, despite the fact it's a round number, is that's where it basically bounced. And if you look at it the last couple of days, the notion of support turning to resistance is usually a good one. So as it gets up in there, yeah, and Boyle bouncing too. So I guess it's just all of energy going, because I just saw Boyle that just popped back up like a couple of percentage points. Wait a minute, 2%? USO didn't move that. USO moved 1% up, and oil is actually a little bit more than that. So both that and nat gas are screaming into prior support levels. So yeah, it should be interesting. And it's not really dropping the market all that much off of the highs, but there was a slight pullback in the Q.
Yeah, it
Worth
is.
monitoring.
It's decent. It was up 1.2. It's up 0.9.
0.9. So let's see how much of this we actually give back.
Here.
It's only 8:30. We have a long time till the open. I'd hate to see us give the entire move back, boys.
Wow.
Let's get some data coming through here. I mean, we didn't see any movement whatsoever, but worth just recapping at 8:30 there. We did get retail sales 0.6%. on the February month-over-month number, ex autos. So if you take out auto sales specifically, about 0.5% versus 0.6 overall. Retail sales year over year for February, 3.7% versus 3.2% last time around. I'm just having a look at this RKLB. Back to the upside here this morning as well. Huge mover late in the day yesterday. It took back 64. Still some talk on SpaceX specifically. I don't know if you guys were talking about that on the midday, but going back a couple of days ago, or I guess it was maybe the end of last week, there was that little, I think it's like a shell essentially that came to market. There was an IPO that had a portion of the ownership in SpaceX, and it ended up running up about 500%.
Where you can
over 3 days or so, and then it came
in private equity.
Yeah, and then it came right back down again. But I mean, space stocks in general have been all the rage, it seems like, over the past couple of weeks here. Another group that, huge day yesterday, as we said, for Rocket Lab, but we'll see what happens here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a growing space. We know Elon Musk, SpaceX, going to be one of the most anticipated IPOs. Rocket Lab, really, really volatile as well, too. So we'll continue on this. I think that we're going to kind of get that vibe of the quantum space. It's hot until we actually start seeing a little bit more activity in the space.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's waiting for the big one, I guess, as far as the IPO for SpaceX goes, guys. But Rocket Lab, another one that's been hugely popular here, continues to be higher with the overall market so far this morning.
Yeah, I think Rocket Labs we were looking at yesterday, but before we get to Rocket Labs, it may be worth watching if you feel there's going to be like big moves and it's all about SpaceX. That Destiny, which I'm not a huge, don't get me trying to support this thing for an investment, because they're half SpaceX and they own some OpenAI and a bunch of other private companies, but you pay a pretty good premium for them for that privilege, which you might not need as much in the upcoming years. but it's got this interesting triple top. So if it can break that, we've seen it squeeze before. And again, when you're squeezing in momentum, it's just about that. This tends to fade pretty hard every single time it does go up. But you're getting the continuation in Rocket Lab. Now, Rocket Lab was a bit of a failed breakout yesterday. Like at the open, if the only trade you took, oh, sweet, Randy, appreciate it. There's no bacon.
Yeah, right.
Randy did not eat all the bacon.
There's so much. These guys bring so much.
There's going to be like trays
Thank
of bacon.
you, Randy.
Randy just said he ate all the bacon. Thanks, Randy. But you got to leave some for the rest of us.
He definitely did.
But the disappointing thing for me yesterday was that Rocket Lab gave you, like it gave you a scalp trade. You could have just taken the initial breakout, left it at that, just grabbed your buck and move away, which usually, oftentimes I would do that, but I didn't. Yesterday's trade, like I went to go buy the dip after it was, like it gave you the break and it went into a resistance level. Okay, well, when that happens, you get out and you wait for the next opportunity. Instead, I tried to buy the dip in here, which never makes sense. And then it broke trend when the news hit. And there's nothing you can do about that. Like it was a clean trend line break, but there's no reasonable entry when it just, like the gap up was like $2 almost, right away. But I do love the fact that it consolidated here. Like look all afternoon. If that's not a consolidation level, then whatever, then they don't exist. So if it can hold 64, I think there's some continuation. It's just, unfortunately, fortunately, because the market is strong today, we've gapped away from what looked like a solid foundational level on Rocket Lab. So maybe this little spike we just saw in USO can get this one back in an orderly fashion, because I think the continuation needs to be it's just a little bit further down. I don't want to chase many moves today. I don't feel that good that this is a chase big-time gaps. Because a reversal, you don't want to get too wrapped up, especially when it's got a really big gap underneath it. But Rocket Labs would be the name on my radar. For those that like that Destiny stock, maybe it does. If it can break out, that one's had some momentum before. I just would never want to hold that for more than, it's like one-day move.
I was going to look here. Another name that's had a multiple-day move, hopefully here, is going to be Marvell. So Marvell, again, right, an absolute banger. Yesterday with NVIDIA, that announcement, and we've been sort of pumping the tires of Marvell for a while, and there it goes, right back there, up to the upside, and right into another level where we've seen before, right, this top of 102, 103. So, I mean, couldn't be happier, right? I mean, this has been a bigger position for myself ever since this move down. We really just started buying this name into last year, and now we're finally, I mean, what a different story Marvell is than the rest of the space, right? I mean, you have NVIDIA still down here, AMD, Google, Meta, like everybody's down to the right. This stock is up to the right. So there goes Marvell right now trying to break through this 103, not trying to, has done it, and we'll see what happens here in the pre-market, 103. So there's the break. We are fading it down a little bit. I mean, obviously, the market's coming back, but Marvell, off of, again, big story yesterday, just kept on climbing. You did have some opportunities there. There's, the pre-market got really excited. The whole market fell down a little bit. We based out in and around 93. Then we just took off in the afternoon and held this 99 level pretty sweetly, but did not break 100. So right now, I think a pullback into 100 looks pretty good to me, man. That's $100 is the 200 period moving average. 99.50 has been the high. So yeah, I think Marvell back in like 98.50 as your ultimate low. I think this one should be added to the sticky note. I'm about to put the sticky note out, but I'm going to now add Marvell in and around this $100 mark. I just think that that's a magnet. We could see it again. And if we do, I don't think there's enough news today. I mean, look, if this market keeps doing, if the market keeps doing this, then yeah, there is a moment of buy opportunities that may look good temporarily, and then, watch the flush continue here. But I really think if you're going to go long, you might as well go long stories, and Marvell's a good one. Continues to, outproduce and outpace sort of the rest of the space. So I like Marvell here today. It's not going to be like that huge, although I know we had a huge move yesterday. It's not like a 13 or 14% mover every day. But again, low market cap, lots of room to run. Reminds me of a baby Broadcom. I told you with the ASICs and all the chip fabrication and all that. And then the optical, the copper, all the data transfer, the build out. If I like Oracle, you got to like Marvell. And I don't like Oracle as a stock, but just at the levels for today. So Marvell up 3%, definitely like that stock moving forward. All right, it's 8:40. We're supposed to have Luis Barbado in a couple minutes. Hopefully he does come through. We'll talk some more light stocks and lower movers there. Oh, he got erased from the calendar. Okay, he will not be there today then. But yeah, pull back in. Yeah, okay. Pull back in right now into 38.70 for iBit. So watch out for this name coming back in as well as BMNR. We can look at ETHA, see what Ethereum's doing today, back up to $16, so that's really nice.
Bitcoin just lost the bid, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now, that these are all potentially somewhere. But Ethereum, nice move yesterday, obviously, as well. We'll see if that can continue today, up 1.3%. I don't know. I don't have any crypto written down, but I think we could probably look at that. I said Bitcoin, maybe.
I had to, just because like we were talking about this trend line yesterday, within the last little bit, like, and now I don't want to say too many lines, but like support and resistance lines, fine. But on the big drops, we've had make a bottom, hold a trend, and then make a channel, and then when the channel breaks down, it gets nasty. But when it breaks the bottom of the trend line, there's like your break is in here, and then it tries to get back above, and the trend turns into resistance. And that same thing is happening. Like we broke the trend line since the prior low, and then you're trying to break back above, and the trend line, which is obviously going higher, is rejecting that top. It's hard to be super bullish when you consider like this needs to hold this level, like holding 38 on iBit, because I'm showing you Bitcoin on iBit, this 38.80 to 39. If that doesn't hold, this is what it looks like. The rejection of that trend line would be the 38.8, like yesterday's high. So it's a little bit higher lows, but when you fail the prior high, it's looking like you're going to get a bit of a pullback here, and that's in the midst of USO getting pretty darn close to that 125. So I think it's kind of mission critical that USO doesn't start closing above 125 again. That wouldn't be the best signal in the world, that we just sort of hold right back up at those tops. Could be a signal that, you know, not everybody is as invested in this relief rally. And remember, we don't get the president is scheduled to speak at 9. That's well after the market today. So you could have some fears that that's a long ways away. It's an entire session away, where maybe some of yesterday's rhetoric gets reaffirmed. There's a lot that can happen, especially given how many headlines we've already seen, like intraday, and hopefully nothing really escalates, because then if we break 125, we could be back to the whole short the pop situation in the overall market, which would be a shame, because you like to think this rally that we're getting could sustain a little bit longer than just a day or two. I saw in the chat a few people looking at some small cappers. I know if we don't have Luis, then we'll try to maybe cover them. That Anna stock seems like it's reversing. I think you got to be really careful. Like some of those names that have, I was looking at Battalion, and oh my goodness. Like, see what happens. Saying that these oil and energy names that were only up, that went ham because of the conflict, like understand, if before things started, it was a $3.50 stock, then don't be surprised that right now it's a $3.60 stock. So it's pretty nasty. And you're at the point now where, like, even if you get a bounce in oil, it's like, well, if the worst has happened, like, where are these gonna go? So all of those types of small cappers have 100% retraced. That's why you take your profit on these when you can. I wasn't even, like, I knew I figured battle would be down because oil is down. I didn't know it would come all the way back. All the way. The hedge funds that get involved in this game, like, they just don't even care. They're probably short starting at like 13, and they're adding at like 21, and they're adding at 30. And as it's coming back down, are they trimming? No, they're probably adding back on the way down at 20, and they're like, it's going all the way back, and that's what they do. Because if it goes to 50, they just hold anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you got to watch out. I mean, you got to watch out for the short float, all that kind of stuff that's involved in these stocks. I mean, you know, what goes up must come down. I mean, you think that battle would have stayed up there with oil being where it is, right? And obviously, you just sort of ticked that down. Just as far as USO is concerned, like, I have it written down. I'm just going to get this note out here. But it's coming up into some levels that I thought we potentially would not see today. Down to 122.50, up to 125. So there is definitely a move happening right now. And I guess we just don't believe anything that we're hearing out of peace talks, I guess. You know, if this is the rally that's going to happen, I thought we were going to be downside. I'm still excited to short this thing. I had written down here USO shorting 126 to 127 area. So just in all of this consolidation, we'll look to potentially go short. We'll see if it gets up there before the market even winds up opening. But it's this, you know, CYCN is the one that's popping right now. Cyclerion is the one here. It's on our watch list today as well. So if you were, looking for some information about what's going on here, I'm just going to show it to you and read. I mean, you know what? I'll just pop out the, hold on a second, bear with me for a second. I'm going to pop out our watch list right here. And again, curated for you guys today and written all about all the stories that you may want to look here. So this is what's popping right now, up 165%. All-stock merger with Corsana Biosciences. There's a combined company here. So there's some information that we're going to have to go through. Data also coming out. So it looks like there's going to be, Neil talked about this, there's definitely some interesting, I'm just trying to read here, proceeds from operations, proof of concept. Okay, so we're just gonna wait to see what this means. It looks like there's gonna be, the price is gonna be attached to some sort of a deal here led by Fairmont and Venrock, looking to make sure that this pipeline gets completed. But there goes CYCN one more time to the upside right now, 71 million shares being done. I'm hearing something. Oh, Iran has just asked Iran for a ceasefire, is what I'm hearing right now in my ear. So Iran now asking for a ceasefire. So that's funny, man. We were just on oil, and if I didn't look at that small cap, we would have just been able to see that live. But there it is, 125 down to 123. So, you know, this is the kind of news that we're waiting for. You know, it hurts my short idea for oil because we are making a move down. But if the concept can be right, there it is, $99 right now. We just popped up into $100 again, right back in, not even into the lows yet. So here, USO, let's just see if they believe this story or not. Bouncing off of VWAP right now. So I still like this. Oh, what happened to my chart down there? I still like the oil story today, but for right now, new news, right, guys, just came out. So I don't know if you heard that over there, Brendan, but President Trump, Iran's new regime, their president is much less radicalized and far more intelligent, says Donald Trump. So obviously anybody that agrees with him would be far more intelligent than the person that doesn't. But there's the story as we have it on here. So it is, just ask the United States of America for a ceasefire. We will consider when the Hormuz Strait, okay, is open, free, and clear. So obviously that's going to be a major sticking point for DJT over here. Unless we get that Strait of Hormuz cleared up, it doesn't look like the United States is going to agree to anything. As you know, they're not idiots. You know, the ones running this story. Until the passage of oil becomes something that is focused on, and I think that actually Iran that's the one sort of, you know, I guess golden shoot or whatever that they have.
Trump card.
Yeah, is literally their Donald Trump card. Yeah, is the fact that you know, they wait and they control that strait, and until something happens over there, we saw the tweet yesterday, a little bit of desperation, or maybe it was 2 days ago, asking the allies, go get your own damn oil, basically, he said, out of this strait if you're not going to help us defend it, right? So I still think that there's some back and forth happening here, and it looks like it's a good story, but still more to come on USO today, that's for sure.
Comments on that, just following up on that note from President Trump, it looks like he has also basically said, sure, no problem, but open the strait first, essentially. So whatever that means. We'll see if there's follow through on that. But again, yeah, new truth just posted there from President Trump saying Iran is basically asking for a ceasefire at this point. His response to that, open the strait first, and then we'll talk about it.
In the UAE as well too, they want to start occupying some of the islands in the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, this conflict is going to be ongoing. Hopefully we can come to a conclusion relatively soon, but the U.S. obviously going to aid some of these Gulf countries as well too in fortifying this strait.
A couple other things moving around here. I was just seeing there was a couple of analyst moves on this one this morning. Robinhood had a big day yesterday. It was late in the day yesterday. Vlad was making some comments, I'm not sure on which network, but talking about the banking side of things. crossing $1.5 billion in deposits from nearly 100,000 funded customers. So huge uptick on their banking side for Robinhood. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to be watching this one going forward.
Yeah, I mean, as for Robinhood, we know with the growth within the company, we have the gold card membership as well too. So this name has just been getting absolutely destroyed as of late. Brando, down 60% off of its highs. It was on an absolute monster run for quite some time. But that doesn't seem to be the case in some of these fintech names. You have SoFi down as well too. So
I mean, it seems like it was not even that long ago, 6-8 months ago. This thing was the hottest stock in the market.
It was 3 quarters ago where they were reporting 700% growth. You had the options activity. You had the retail space growing at triple digits. Things cooled down since then. So it wasn't that long ago.
Crypto obviously off a cliff. The demand for actual trading probably following suit from that. If there's progress here on a global stage, if there's some sort of movement in the right direction for stability and therefore stocks overall, what are you looking at first?
I mean, it's tough, right? What I want to look here is just from a technical standpoint, I think we were just overdone, right? We had the NASDAQ climbing up a substantial from April last year. Same with the SPY. These stocks need to cool down. So what am I looking at exactly? What are earnings going to tell us? And we talked about us leading into them in a couple of weeks. What is the CapEx going to look like amongst the hyperscalers? Are they going to increase spending? We know what they're going to be looking like for the next couple of years. But ROI is something that I think the street is going to be really focused on relatively soon. We're spending all this money, but where are we going to start seeing this in return? We need to start seeing some more monetization within Sam Altman and OpenAI. We know Oracle's tied up with them. Not so good of a relationship with Microsoft as well, too. So I think it's just the monetization aspect and when they can really start bringing in some money, whether it be digital ads as well. So I think that's something I'm going to be really focusing on. Where am I going to go? I think it's the same narrative. They perform the best and they get hit the heaviest. So I'm going to be looking at some of the larger tech names.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this kind of an environment. And if we get follow through on these yields coming back to the downside, as I said early on this morning, 3 days in a row, working on a fourth here, negative for the long end of the curve as well, which is going to help a little bit here. Anyways, I mean, I dabbled yesterday. I bought the market a little bit yesterday. Coming in this morning, I kind of feel like I should have been a whole lot more, but
surprisingly so, right? We talked about Microsoft being down 35% at the lows, Meta down as well too. You have Apple holding on relatively down 14%, and then the other names still down roughly 22%, like NVDA. But the market's still holding up relatively well, only down about 10%.
And that's been the difference in this pullback, if you will. I mean, better part of 10%. So it has been a correction for some areas of the market. It's been way more for others. Guys, I'll throw you the same question here. Where are you going first if we get some sort of movement in the right direction here over the next couple of weeks?
I'm
checking my account to see how much cash
I bought the SPY during, I think it was like a week and a half ago. Or so whatever, it was probably like a week ago. But it was like a DCA kind of situation. I still feel like I want to see some earnings. I nibbled into Robinhood for the first time ever. And it was one thing that got lost in the Robinhood thing that I think bears mentioning. In 5 months from April last year, the stock went up 5x. Stocks that move like that to the upside, I don't care what the fundamentals are. If the market turns, they tend to get hit a lot heavier. But it was more along the lines of this pull back into a really big, significant area and consolidate. So I'm like, oh, nibble there. If things get worse from here and Robinhood was at $50, I don't think that would be terribly surprising. I don't think it would be the end of the world. But I looked at some things in the portfolio, and I was like, hey, is Walmart falling enough? And then I pull up the weekly chart of this thing, and it's like, that's not anywhere near support. I did get back into some GEV, like I sold some GEV, and I was like, I'm gonna buy the dip on that. But like, I don't really count it as I regretted the fact that I didn't have a full position in it anymore, so I just, on a recent dip, bought back into some shares. Look at this one on the weekly chart. That's barely pulled back. I see the whole rebuilding talk going on. I'm like, well, if the Iran wants the U.S. to pay for rebuilding, they're not gonna do that, and to the extent that they do it, it'll be U.S. companies that rebuild anyway, so I like some Caterpillar. On a weekly chart, that is $190 away from the 50-period moving average. You can't, like if you go back to like late last year and look at this dip in here, like you're not really even breaking that trend. So there's a bunch of things that didn't get hit that I would have wanted to go first because they were already strong, but it's like they barely even moved into the downside. But I'm not eager to buy Meta or Softy. Like I think I'm pretty sure my next buy will just again be the overall market, because some of the things that I wanted to buy thinking they would get pulled back and were strong, they haven't dipped far enough. And the things, again, like the things in my portfolio that have been strong, they haven't dipped enough. And there might be one notable exception, I suppose, which would be ARM. Because this one, like ARM, for me, has only ever been a buy when it gets down to like this triple bottom on the daily. And then you go back to like the IPO, will kind of show you a resistance level if this ever decides to load up. But they did have a notable change in that they're now, hey, we're gonna make our own chips. We're expecting huge revenue growth based on that. They're expecting like 5x revenue growth, 3x just because of the new chip in the next few years. So this is this now all of a sudden becomes a little bit different. I might decide that instead of only buying this one in front of that triple bottom, that I should just be buying the moving averages, which I've not really been doing on. But I haven't made that judgment call yet. It's only been a few days since their last move. And oddly enough, it just seems to be following Marvell lately. At the last couple of big moves it had, no, seriously, it's like, and it has something to do with, I think it has something to do with the whole, we're talking about with SoftBank and the combination before. Not that I think anything would happen there, but this one's gotten away from that 200 period bounce. I feel like I should have added there and then didn't pull the trigger, but most of the other stuff I wanted to buy on strength has not dipped far enough. So it's really just a SPY probably again for me.
Yeah, the S&P is only down 6%. I was just looking at it right now. So it's not even like it's down that much. There's the down call, down 6%. You know, at the lows, down worse than that. If we go at the very, I don't know how exact this is. Like, I don't know which point it takes, if it takes the day or just takes wherever I push enter on here too. The very bottom 9%. So obviously you've battled back now 2.5% to the upside. So that's been a little bit of a buy. But Brendan, don't feel bad about missing or not buying enough yesterday. The ES right now is only up 0.4. We've actually given back a lot right here, as Trump did not, I guess that tweet did not come over that well because the Strait of Hormuz is not negotiable as far as Iran is talking about. But there's the pullback in, and there's the ES down 0.4. Yeah, I think that's a smart place to go. I think if you want to be a little safer than even the SPY, I think the XLF, the financials, right there we just talked about it now, 13 days away. So you're I guess we don't count Friday, but yesterday marked the 2-week spot for financials. So when that comes through whoopsies, I'm still on this. There we go, get rid of that. When that comes through, their earnings, I could see a nice bounce back there. I think balance sheet's really strong for the financials. They're well capitalized. Obviously, we have that risk factor of private credit and where that's going to wind up going. But we just got to just unwind that, and we'll see that it's not that big of a deal. And I don't, all the numbers that I'm hearing does not seem, a company like a Blue Owl or somebody that is very specific in their business model and what they're running, some of these names have already been clocked, to the downside. If it's not getting worse over here in Blue Owl, then I don't expect a lot of these bank names like a Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan or any of these big, huge money center banks to have a problem with some of the loans that are on the books. So obviously there's going to be some bad loans out there and some where they've marked to market and it's going to be a lot lower and they're going to have to take a hit there. But you could see, with some of these battle backs now, you're starting to see some of these banks start to get going back up through the 200 period again and holding it. So I think that XLF, if you're asking me, which is the question over on the desk now, where are we going? I think financials. I think you can even start to go now. And I would not go into the Robinhoods or the SoFis of the world. I'm already in SoFi. But I just think the traditional banks heading into earnings will produce better. And obviously, if you get some good prints, these guys don't report until the end of the month. So they're April 28th, April 29th for Robinhood and for SoFi. So I just think that play the banks now and then maybe rotate into these ones afterwards.
Want a good stat for the big banks?
Always.
I think it's the biggest, we had the biggest quarter for large, like over $10 billion M&A deals since 2015. So I think that's good. That's good for the big boys. That doesn't That's not helping
Yeah.
any of the the private credit stuff. But for the big deals, like there was an uptick there. So I think that's like Morgan's held up pretty well. Goldman's held up very, very well. They're both up like 4%, I think, yesterday, 4%, something along those lines.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, yesterday everything was.
I mean, everything was up. What's not good is we just burst. Okay, we just burst through the lows on the Qs, but I don't want to say more importantly. But importantly, USO is now through that bottom cleanly through 125. Like it tried to check up there, like on the headline, that's where it reversed, and it tried to check up at 125 and now completely gone. The only thing that's standing out, this could be good if we get a bit of a turn. Yeah, Boyle is right back down into the lows and suddenly doing that thing where it's weaker than USO, which is sometimes led to opportunities, because what can happen is this can still be at a resistance level if and when USO does turn around. But yeah, we're through that 125 and we're trending higher here. Clearly that truth is not doing much for us. We've lost half of the gains on the NASDAQ from this morning, unfortunately.
All right, let's talk about everything else we need to know here to kick things off this morning. A lot going on, a lot of things changing as we speak. If you haven't done so yet, as the guys were mentioning, grab the watch list. Link is below in the description right now. Second link will get you to the sign-up page. Then you need your email address, and that is all. And then it just shows up in your email every single day before we come on at 8 o'clock. Top of the list here, as it should be, Nike. If we do get some sort of follow-through on the overall market, absolutely dying right now is Nike. It didn't even attempt to take back $47. I thought it might. I mean, I just counted them up. There's probably 6 negative analyst notes or price target cuts or downgrades on this stock this morning. This guidance is pretty bad. Q4 sales seem to be 10.6 billion to 10.8 billion versus expectations of 11.2. That's not going to do it.
It's not looking good. This turnaround is taking a bit longer than expected here, Brendo. China sales down 20%. Very minimal growth here in North America as well, too. It's just the competitive landscape in the athleisure where you have the Gymsharks, where they're essentially an e-commerce business, higher margins continuing to dwindle here for Nike. And I don't know how many more discounts you can continue to give to the point where you're not really raking anything in at the end of the day.
I mean, there's more and more of those online first types of companies popping up, like Honor Active.
Exactly.
I've been seeing everywhere.
A lot of them
lately as well.
And then you have the Aloes as well too, who are grabbing shares. So it's extremely competitive.
Yeah, not the same world as it used to be, guys. Day lows here. I mean, doesn't say much for the U.S.-China relations either going forward, you would think.
Yeah, like this, it really didn't, that didn't help at all. And you could hear them, they even said in the call that they still had some concerns with uncertainty with regard to input prices. We sort of said this was in trouble if it lost 50, and then like promptly, it doesn't come anywhere close to giving you a trade near the $50 level. It's an obvious flat bottom break because you had support and a lot of support going back in 2016. This went on its crazy run holding that 50 level. And what's the craziest thing about this is all the way down here, it's not as if they're even going to be cheap relative to the space on a PE basis, which is wild when you've been getting shellacked. Like you're down this much and you can't even make the comment that this is some kind of like a value play bottom. So with that said, like I want to favor short, but the level that I was so interested in was the 50. It's not like you can even sniff 49 unless it squeezes. So without that, there's VWAP. It's respecting VWAP. That's probably the first place I would look for a shot on Nike. But other than that, it's trending down. If it were able to break the trend and hold above VWAP, then maybe you could get some kind of a press where you just let it go and then try a trend break like later in the afternoon when some of the short covering has probably been abetted. But until then, maybe just look at the volume weighted average price because that 50 is far in the rear view. And there's not much signaling the turnaround. Lululemon, I know the comparison between them is not, like it's not apples to apples, but they are similar. And if you look at Lulu, sort of also breaking out some bottoms here, similar thing, like on the monthly, they get lost a major support level. Let me go this way. That being said, it made a pretty hard double bottom yesterday. If this got dragged down, it's a long way away from that double bottom, but if it got dragged down because of Nike today, that would be kind of an interesting support level for Lulu at that 145. I don't necessarily see it happening, but if Nike ends up down like 20%, it certainly would be possible. It could drag a few things with it. So if it doesn't give you a VWAP, I got to wait till it tests at least somewhat close to the 50 level, because that's a big one.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this China worry, obviously a problem here for Nike. This global shutdown of potential production. I mean, if you aren't going to get positivity coming out of the Middle East, then I do feel that Nike is, and look, they're not going to be a huge market, but people are a little nervous about the consumer, to be honest with you. I just... Even there's discussion here that they're having a hard time getting rid of some of their discounted inventory. So like that, any inventory, especially when you're in a fashion business, like you're sitting on something that's now old and you're not even being able to get rid of last year's models, potentially even further back than that. It really does put a damper on like your future look. And I'm not sure if Nike has anything going on other than like we have the World Cup coming. I don't really think there's much hope here for Nike. This is on an island by itself down here. Not good. And we've been talking about this name for a while, and it just kept on bleeding. And, the minute that we did not hold this 200 period moving average, it was almost over. And that was October, boom to the downside. They've tried, we talked with Adair the other day, Starbucks, got new management. These guys got new management, Chipotle. And it's just like Nike just has been the one that really hasn't been able to turn anything around. So just looking at those numbers, it's going to be a problem. And we still haven't even been dealt with tariffs yet or anything. So I'd say stay away from Nike. And I would not be buying this dip until you get some kind of a... I don't even know what's going to turn it around, honestly. Like, activism hasn't worked. Change, like we just said, the change in management at the top, not helping, and now breaking through. So I would say maybe you just fade it if it gets back to $50. But here, maybe I can talk positively about it. Maybe there's a market on close or market on open imbalance.
If it gets cheap enough,
but it's a sell.
Oh, that's
what is the here it is right here, Nike. What is the forward PE?
I saw
20s, and it's still too high, right? So
21. I think the current was like 30, and then the forward was like 21 going into this. But then, like, you remember, it's not a tech company, right? So you got to actually compare it to other retail and apparel companies. So it's not cheap. I think maybe that's the thing for Nike. You get cheap relative to peers, and then you can look a little bit better. A company that has also been getting a lot cheaper relative to its peers. I mean, some would argue maybe not cheap enough. Who knows? That would be Oracle. Is the bottom in there?
Real quick, first on Intel, a couple of people mentioning this, just came out at 9 o'clock there. Intel to repurchase 49% equity stake in its Ireland fab joint venture. Somebody was asking about whether or not that's positive or negative for Intel. I mean, owning 100% of anything is obviously going to be positive, you would think anyways. $14.2 billion, not nothing, definitely, as far as the price tag. Taking back the ownership, though, you would think positive for them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we were talking a while ago as well, too, Brando, that Broadcom looking to acquire Intel. That didn't go through because the fabs would be included. So now that you have the government stake, Donald Trump getting involved with Intel, things definitely turned around for this stock. What a coincidence.
Oh, yeah, that happened, too, if anyone missed it. Yeah, let's talk about Oracle here. I mean, you and I were talking about this earlier. Yeah, it's up. I mean, was up significantly more than it is right now, coming back in. But, I mean, job cuts, they're even going to have to sell some assets.
Sell some job cuts, 30,000 job cuts there, selling some assets. Just the obligations that they essentially have to meet for OpenAI is just really, really weighing on this stock. We're seeing this across the board, though, Brendo, whether it be in Block, Jack Dorsey's Block laying off 10,000, and then you have Andy Jassy in Amazon laying off another 30,000. But those are more or less saying due to AI efficiencies. I don't think that's necessarily the case here for Oracle.
Yeah.
It's due to the obligations that they have for OpenAI, essentially, which equals to the majority of those RPOs.
I mean, it was a huge move yesterday, and then even if you add in what happened this morning in the pre-market, but if you zoom out onto a daily chart here, I mean, we're only just getting back into this chop from, a higher time frame, guys. So 151 is basically the dead center of this area for Oracle.
By the way, as the market continues to go down, regardless of what you think of that Intel news, Intel broke the highs on that.
Yeah.
Like it took out 45. And the market's literally at the lows. So for now, the market seems to like that Intel Apollo news that was just reported there by Brendan. So the ball usually doesn't lie. And for now, I would kind of classify Intel as, it has had some really strong mornings recently, even if it doesn't hold them. When it's strong relative to the market, it tends to at least last for 15 minutes or so. It can be tricky if you're looking to fade it. Now, Oracle has been tested the 50 before, the 50-period SMA before, and multiple times. It has been unable to get through. I think that'll be the real test if there's an actual bottom in here, and I think that's worth waiting for any kind of a long term. But there's some room to that today. Now, obviously, it'll be a lower high. You're talking about a moving average, so it's not the resistance in here. It's more along the lines of like there. So I would expect to see some resistance on Oracle up close to that price. It's just, to say it's diddling in the middle is a half truth because it's nowhere near that prior close, but there's a 150, which at least gives you an over-under type of look. Like if it can't hold this at the open, then does it matter? The real problem is, like I like over-under levels for situations like here where what's going to matter probably more than anything else is if we just keep trending up on USO, it's going to be difficult for anything to bounce anyways. So if you can't, I want to separate if we get a turn and we start bouncing, the stocks that were able to hold support and the ones that weren't. So if USO reverses, gets back underneath 125, and this doesn't hold 150, well then I'm not going to be a huge fan of it. But if it does, fair enough. But just to the point of at Intel, it's pulling back a little bit here now, but Intel was able to break out on that news. So it like immediately it's on the radar. It wasn't before. There was no catalyst this morning for Intel. There's no reason why you'd be looking at it over anything else. But suddenly when it's the only stock breaking the highs, when the market is going lower, it bears some watching. 45 got rejected. That's a pretty key level on Intel. If we do see, if it's a big level here at 44. If we do see a retest of that, that could be a bounce spot. Otherwise, I think VWAP could just be the play for INTC, up 2%. And this was a stock that wasn't on anybody's radar, I don't think, until like 5 minutes ago.
I'm not even looking at Intel right now. But Oracle, I mean, we will look at it. Oracle's my top idea today, long 148. We'll wait to see if it winds up holding it. This is what it looks like here. We'll see. 140 bottom has been hopefully a momentum sort of bump higher. You could check it out on the sticky note. There's 140 right there. Looks like we may have had a sort of a moment down here. We'll see if we can hold. I mean, 140 is not the very bottom. It's more like that 136. But just in here for today, there's 148 to 147. That's what we wrote down. We'll wait to see if we do completely flush through this 146 area. I feel like that's going to be the ultimate bottom, right? I mean, when we're writing this note, we're up here at 151. So a flush back into 148 gets me a little excited. That's your 50-period moving average right here, 147 base. Up still, market flushing back a little bit here. I like the chance to buy Oracle on any dips. So, the good story there today. And let's just wait to see if Oracle does have the juice to flush a little bit more. And if we can get into that 148, then I think I'll take that. So for me, Oracle on the buy down there. And look, I know the data center thing, and they've had to raise billions and hundreds of billions of dollars, to pursue their plan. But if the data center build out is a thing, which it seems to be, the demand seems to be there. We just had an open AI round again. What was it, $122 billion funding round or something like that yesterday? So backed by Amazon, Microsoft, all the big boys. So, there's money to be sloshed around here. And I just think Oracle is doing exactly that, up and down and around. And now I just think it's time to go back to the upside, especially if we're going to get some better feels. This could be a name. We talked about where you're going to go next. I mean, the S&P 500, I think, is the safest, but this might have some of the biggest upside out of all the sort of mega cap names that we're looking at Oracle. So I really think that Oracle can get going here, and I'm going to try to buy 148 dips.
Let's go to Tesla. Back downside here right now with the overall market. It's worth noting, anyone watching the energy market, we'll get to in a sec here, but oil pretty much ripping at the moment, back higher. So Tesla on a bounce, but it seems like deliveries and sales for EV companies in general come and go as the price of oil fluctuates.
Yes.
We're back to the upside here in a pretty big way. Over in Europe, 203% in France to the upside, 178 in Norway, 143% in Denmark, 96, a mere 96 in Sweden. It's not just Tesla, because we got some Chinese delivery numbers as well that were much better than expected from NIO and BYD as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about Tesla continuously losing its market share in Europe. When you have and you hold most of the addressable market, there's only one way you can really go with these Chinese EVs stepping in. But that's a solid step. And I thought we would see this year, considering with the price of oil continuously rising, I would thought we'd see a little bit of an uptick here in registrations. Very much.
Randy has a drill in his hand, so everybody stand by. Doing a fantastic job are these guys trying to get this place wrapped up and finished, but no, it looks great.
Oh, he's drilling, but like it's a chop fest in Tesla. I can't really, like when you look at the daily chart, it's pretty unique compared to almost every other thing that we are going to be looking at today, where you've just been making so very consistent lower highs and lower lows on this daily. There hasn't really been a point where you've had that follow through. So I feel like with this stock, when it's in this pattern, you're looking for either a break of that trend, right? Like you're able to maybe get through a prior big resistance level and follow through, like not have these like lower consolidations. And so if we don't really take out 385, then I don't know that you've really busted that trend. And even then, you probably need some confirmation tomorrow. It's not saying Tesla can't do it. It's just like Tesla for me is going to look a lot better. Like the one time we start making some higher lows in here, it's like, okay, Tesla's on a different vibe. I'm not getting that feeling from Tesla yet. Today would really need to take the 385, and that seems at least a little bit unlikely with USO trending up the way that it is. If on the offhand that this ends up mattering, if Rivian even wants to load here, this at least, if you're looking at Rivian, it's held the same area for quite some time. So it's a little bit better structured. Like it's held about 14.5, and then the 200 period, there's been some breaks of it, but it's holding this consolidation level pretty decently. And then each time it's able to get back and at least bust the 50 period moving average. How far it gets is open to question, because each time it's going a little bit lower, but it's got a nice little hold in here. I just don't know what the catalyst will be yet for Rivian, but I feel as if this one, if you dip today, Rivian has held the line pretty cleanly under 15 to about 14.5. So if we get a severe market reversal, this one seems like you can just buy where everyone else is buying kind of deal, because you've seen it hold for a couple of weeks now. Actually, probably 3 weeks.
Like, I don't know why 126 is so key here on USO. I am sitting here at 126 and would have loved to have gotten that short. I was just put it there and waited. It went to 92s right there on USO. You can see that was my short idea. So we're going to wait. Maybe we get that right off the open anyways. I mean, it's easily to come back. I was looking at the note that we had. So there's Oracle, we have Apple written down as a long. And then here we go have Tesla, 374. Yeah, I still like the SpaceX narrative with the EV story as well, possibly hitting today with those EV deliveries. But I was just going to say, like, I sort of talked about this earlier. Tesla's bouncing off to 200 right now, which is pretty nice. But right into here, 374, 375. I mean, that's yesterday's top. We couldn't really break through it. Like I had said earlier when we opened the show at about 8:15 or so, when we were talking about Tesla, and that was an hour ago, and that was, you know, it's going to have to take a move to get back in there. We started to go. We got to 376.75. If this market does fall back in, I think you want to buy strong names, right? The market's only up 0.7. Tesla's adding 1% on top of that, up 1.8 right now. So I like the strength in the name. And I think yesterday, you know, this hold during the afternoon of this level lets me know that there's at least some kind of supply there. And then we busted through it. So let's see if that can turn into be support down here at 374. I'm trying to go long Tesla. And right now, the only order I'm sitting on is USO high side at 126. But if we watch out for Tesla and it opens up and does crank a little lower, I think we take that 374 and deal with it after that. So I can be convinced to put a bid there. I want to wait to see what winds up happening with these imbalances. The early trades have been great if you've been able to catch something with momentum. Right now, That's not momentum if it comes back into 374. That's the opposite, right? It's losing its momentum, and if anything, it's picking up steam to the downside. So, we'll wait. Oil, WTI, XOM is there, Oxy's there, right? So we are getting some downside. Oh, there's BBAI. What's that doing? 360. Okay, finally. That's a nice upside there from yesterday. Still up 2% today. But right here, look at this. We don't have this too much on the opening imbalances, but the SPY is also getting a little bit of a sell side action right there. So watch out for that move coming back in. All right, I just talked about Apple. Let's go get the story with Microsoft, another mega cap name, and we'll see if that one's oversold to the downside. Nike's still going lower, by the way.
Yeah, Nike going lower. The market's trying to bounce a little bit, but oil back to the upside in a pretty big way right now. So, yeah, doesn't seem like this is going to hold for the time being. But Microsoft spending more money, this time $5.5 billion in Singapore, according to the Wall Street Journal. It is going out to 2029, so not all at once, but we are coming back in here for Softy.
$1 billion in Thailand as well, too, over the next couple of years, Brendo. So the data center build-out in Asia is in full effect, but this stock has not been performing good whatsoever. It has been the worst performing Mag 7 as of late, down 33% at its lows. It's been a really tough look for Microsoft as of late.
Yeah, we were saying yesterday, I mean, if you zoom out, that's a weekly chart for Microsoft. This is April, so almost a year ago. Trying to hold these levels, though, guys. Big time levels, 350 for Microsoft.
Yeah, if it can't hold these levels, then where else is it going to hold? Realistically, unfortunately, the sentiment is kind of shifted. No, it's definitely shifted, at least early on. Like we were not screaming, but gapping and gently trading higher all morning. Now you're under VWAP. This has like a classic stair step down pattern. So when you see that, like if the more classic it is, the more you need to see the trend break to actually like the long here in Microsoft. At least for this morning. But on the higher time frames, I already looked at the monthly chart. It's a critical month if it can hold 370. That's actually a good looking bottom if it holds 370. Even for half the month, it could be just sort of anticipate and then play like the second half to the upside. But you've got a nice reversal brewing here on Softy. It lacks the continuation today without it busting 378. Again, another stock diddling in the middle. I think you got to really pick and choose, because a lot, to a certain extent, we're going to be very, very dependent on what happens with the USO. And one of the reasons why I was looking at an AMD is you had like that prior high where at least if you pull back, you can bounce off it. We've successfully bounced off 206. So if I see AMD hold the opening range over 206 when it breaks this downtrend, it's got a support level under it, whereas Microsoft just doesn't have that for me. I think you're looking for Microsoft on a long-term. I think this month it could be a nice like swing play. If at the back side of this month it looks like it's a good reversal candle still, then I would get more excited there. But on the first of the month, I don't know if I want to fall for that trick.
Man, Apple just almost went to 126 again. Oh, we just missed that. Here, look, we just missed that short again. Right there, look at that. It just went to 125.80.
Oh, you mean USO?
Yeah, USO. Yeah, we're going to get oil. We're going to get USO short. Okay, so I had written it, and that might not be good. I'm punching out. I already have the stop at 127. So if we break 126 and then rip to 127, I'm going to punch out a USO immediately. I wrote down here Apple. I'm not going to call the sticky note up again, but it's on there. 254. Well, it just fell right into 254. Remember, like I'm writing that down up here, so we're at 255 and change. There's a drop into 254. The reason why I like Apple here is there's a really, really good base yesterday formed, right? And I was like, if we were able to drop back into this name, it's not a super violent name, Apple. I mean, it trends great, but you don't get, like those instant $5 or $6 moves straight off the open, right? So yesterday we based out right there at the open at 247. We came back in around 11 o'clock, retested that level, and then ripped higher. So if you're going to look at pre-market levels right now, you are at that 253.75. So you're a little lower than where I like it. We do have those imbalances coming out in just a couple minutes, but I think Apple is a name to look at today. Again, it looks to me a little bit like that Oracle where we've made some of these lows. I mean, Oracle is much more dramatic because it came from like all the way up here and then wind up all the way down there. But some of these lows here seems to have matched out with support, right? I mean, we came in, we know that the Apple story is what it is. They're selling more phones than they can imagine. It's going to get more expensive, though, with the cost of inputs going higher. I mean, I just looked last night. My kid came down and was like, talking to me about RAM. The same stick of RAM that we bought in November. So we bought the stick of RAM in November. I think it was $60. I don't remember the specs, so whatever. It's now $108, the same link there on Amazon. So the same product was $60 and it was $107.99. So I was like, well, let's go back in and maybe we'll buy the same piece for you to just add another stick of RAM. And it was from literally November, I think it was November 1st, November 19th or something we bought it. And it's now, obviously it's April, so we've been going through a cycle there, but costs going higher. So anyways, I just think that Apple's been bouncing off there despite all that noise. And I think we go higher for Apple, but the market's going to have to settle itself down. And I think when it does, we'll look back and wonder about this 253, 254 area for AAPL. So I'm excited to try to buy some Apple today, but again, not right off the open. It's too close to those levels. Man, like USO did that again. Like, that's twice in a row. You think I would have learned my lesson sitting there at 126 that time, goes all the way down to 124.75, then it just rips right back to 125.80, which I should have been at, and now we're in $1 if we're short. I'm still gonna sit there and be stubborn with it a little bit. Let's wait to see if we get that price, but definitely looking short on oil here today.
All right, Robinhood back to long-term levels as well. Again, if you zoom out, you got to go all the way back to, March levels from last year. We bounced off that to a T, $65 yesterday. Coming into play, trying to get higher here this morning once again. Trading volumes back to the upside. I mean, we talked about that deposits note that Vlad was pumping yesterday, crossing significant levels, both on the monetary side of things and the number of active accounts for them, which is always positive for both sides of the business.
Absolutely. I mean, Brando, this name went on a 400% run from our benchmark of April of last year. We know that Vlad is looking to tokenize equities as well, too, so he's going to be at the front of that. You can already get private equity via tokenization in Europe as well, not here yet. But the gold membership continuing to grow, record assets under management. Robinhood was a stock that was on fire, and as I mentioned not too long ago, 400%, but unfortunately down 55% off of those highs.
Crazy, yeah. Complete round trip here, guys, for 52-week levels anyways for Robinhood.
Yeah, yuck. And maybe it's going to take, let's be real, like 70,000 Bitcoin retest. I think that would help a lot. The market rebounding is a good start, but I think you need the crypto market to come back a little bit. And sentiment is sentiment. And the reality has been that almost all of crypto, pretty much all of it, has performed worse than the market. And so therefore those financial names which are closely tied to it have plunged more. That's just how it is, we like it or not. So when it comes to, like, I'm looking at iBit today, it's just, if we can get back above 68.8 and maybe make that press into 70,000, that's what I wanted to see. And if that can't happen, it's hard to be in love with a Robinhood. If that can't happen, you could easily press right back in and retest some prior support that was here at about $69. We're a little far away from that, but it's going to be iBit for me. That's what I'm focused on. If you take out that 68.8, that'll be breaking away from 39 and holding the 38.8. If we don't see that, then I have to remain very, very tepid. I shouldn't say very, because very bearish was like auto shorting every single pop. That's not where I'm at today. But if we, in the 15-minute, if we open up and the opening range holds under 39 and we're making lower highs, then I know I need to be short iBit. This breakout could easily still happen, and then we take out that 68.8, and maybe we get this rally to 70K. That's probably going to matter a little bit on oil and oil futures, but I'm not going to like Robinhood if Bitcoin's going down. Like if Bitcoin doesn't break out, like I find it hard to believe Robinhood would today on its own.
Yeah, Robinhood is not something that's set out for the conservative trader. If you're looking for instant gains, it might be good because it does move quite aggressively, and a very, very volatile name is Robinhood. You know, we talked about Webull, we talked about SoFi, we talked about some of these names that have been really, really crushed. Webull the most out of all of them, but SoFi is still down half, right? I mean, its high was $33. You got into $15 yesterday. So yeah, about SoFi. SoFi came out, Muddy Waters came out with that report on SoFi where we got hit to the downside, bought back almost immediately that very next day, and then the cat came back and just kept hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And now right here, if you look at the last 15 days, you got about 3 or 4 up days on SoFi, similarly to Robinhood. I prefer SoFi. I like that bank charter. I think Robinhood is too attached to crypto, and I think crypto is like I'm not buying anymore. The last time I bought was 66, and I feel fine with that, but a little nervous about it. I'd rather just, if I'm gonna play Robinhood, I'd rather just honestly play BTC. Although I do think that Robinhood does have ways to the upside. I like that gold card. I like the Trump account was a little bit of a hit, but they still could get those. You know, let's not talk like that's over with. All right, so Oracle, downside, we looked at that 148. We're gonna see if that comes into play. That's still $2 away. We did wanna have a quick look at the imbalances, and the market's gonna open up in 30 seconds, so welcome everybody. Nothing on here right now. I'm actually gonna close this. I don't wanna waste my time with it. Apple was looking for 254. It's there right now, so I'm gonna have to give that a little bit of a rest. USO, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to short this $1 higher. If that happens, great. And then Tesla also with 10 seconds to go, looking for $5 down from here for some kind of support. So here we go, man. We're ready to rock and roll with only 2 seconds left now. And one, we open up with the NASDAQ, 0.75% up. Right now, ES up 0.6, NASDAQ up 0.75. I didn't write down any levels for the TQs or the Qs today. We'll have to just wait to see where we wind up going for them today. Tesla, there's the move, already down $2. We'll see where it goes. USO flat, Tesla down. That's about it for me right now. Oracle maybe on watch as well.
Yeah, Bitcoin no move, obviously. Well,
Oracle down to
I shouldn't say obviously.
Bit.
Oil's not going to move if USO's not going to move either. Intel did have some news. They're buying back fab business, Apollo. Looks like that just broke the highs. So no dip buy on Intel. I mean, the market came back in. There was a chance it was going to happen. But Intel now 3.5% and just pressing through some fresh highs in here for Intel. Let's see if it holds that trend. Maybe you can catch a little bit of a dip action there for sure. iBit, we've seen Bitcoin be quiet off of the open before it does any kind of a move. So we're not surprised that we're not breaking it out, but not a good sign that the first tick is to the downside. Nvidia, which, did we even talk about Nvidia?
No, we didn't.
Nvidia's close to going red here. It just kind of hit the bid pretty heavily. I'm looking over at AMD, which is doing something similar, but AMD just wicked 206, which is pre-market support. All these other lines, they're just bad, not bad.
I got
but
Microsoft.
They're dark bull wicks. But this is down into 206 here, and looking like it's pulling back.
Well, wait, I got Microsoft down here. Let's wait to see what winds up happening. We're long at 371. I'm just going to test it very, very small. If we break through 370, I was going to get out. That was sort of just this pre-market low is actually, and that's yesterday, so the pre-market low we've taken out. But this low there, 369.80. Let's just wait to see. We're in the money now a little bit on Softy. We'll see if we can get something out around that 50 marker, which we just sort of bounced off of. But if this is going to be a risk-on day, which I'm not sure it is, Microsoft should work, right? I mean, yesterday we did, okay, there it is. We get 50 cents, so a quick little winner on that one. Only got out of 5%. Yeah, let's just see if it wants to hold, right? I mean, we do have an opportunity to explode a little higher today if this market gets going. So there it is. We probably, hopefully, we'll have our first dollar winner. Let me put an offer at 372 just to see if it does come through. And then if it does, good on that one. And if not, we do have our target of $1 to the downside. So just taking off a couple percentage points here as we rip up in the money now 70 cents or 60 cents on Microsoft and looking for a little longer. Oracle, here it goes. There it is right now. Let's go, man. Let's see if we can get that dollar club. One more. There it is. We start the day. Wow, it's 9:33, and we'll take $1 on that one. So far, so good there to start the day. Oracle's in our spot, but Microsoft, we chose you. Oracle down to 148. I didn't mind this level in the past. And then also, Tesla ticked right into our bids as well. We only took Microsoft, though. So far, 1 for 1.
Oh, my goodness, Intel. You got to be kidding me. Intel's now 4% to the upside. Yeah, yes, that just went $1 off the lows. That's a $40 stock. The Apollo story didn't seem like it was that big of a deal, but it's certainly going in the other direction. Nike lost VWAP. VWAP's a moving target. Lost VWAP right off the open. So if it does pop back into the volume weighted average price again, we will jump back on over to that one if we can even get it at this point. I still like this. USO is actually trending down, And I think oil is relatively weak, which it continues to be, at least as far as I'm concerned. Here's a juxtaposition between the two. Should be pretty obvious to see. USO trended higher. When it made its top, oil was still heading to the downside. So if I see this hold trend, then I might just pop oil at the bottom end of the range. There's a huge flat bottom break on this. If you go out to the 15-minute, it's been holding the same level all week long. So I'm going to short this pop because USO doesn't want to go. This has been weaker all morning long.
All right. $2 there on Softy. It looks like our Oracle, there's Softy, that's Tesla. There's Softy, we just take a 73 fill. So that was gonna be a good little look there for us. It's funny because Oracle also was $1 there, just went to 149. But I'm a little bit more nervous for some reason about buying anything right now. I mean, this is a nice move up. If you really haven't got going, which is why I'm letting Microsoft sort of settle down, I think 375 might be in and around the top there for Softy, the pre-market highs we got to look at there. But Oracle, yeah, Oracle gives that 148. It actually broke below into 147.50. This is why you don't want to necessarily sit there and take these levels. You got to let them sort of build out a little bit here. So with the market obviously starting to go back to the upside, here it is, man. We've almost got our daily goal here. We only took half of a unit, not a huge fill to start with, but that's why we're able to hold this just for a little bit longer. And I just said like VWAP was right there at 73. That's where we took a piece out there. We'll see if we can get another piece up by 73s. I'm just going to put an offer there right now. The market has fallen back just a little bit. We'll put one more bid up there at 73s there as we're now falling back in. And hey, if it loses the bid, it loses the bid. This is a shot call right here on Microsoft. We could have taken it all out right there and been comfortable with our trade. But for right now, let's just wait to see if the market does actually want to get up to the upside here. We do have President Trump speaking tonight. That should be, everything he says, he tries to get the market going. I'm not sure if it's going to work out this time.
We tried this morning.
We did, yeah, exactly. And you saw where the market went, almost straight down. It's working now as the market's bouncing back up. So we still have that winner on board right now, Neil and Boyle. I was looking at USO 126. I have the offer there. It's what I wrote down. It just, right now, it's not giving me that look, and maybe this break of VWAP gets us going, but I don't mind oil going down. I'm long the market with Microsoft here, so hopefully it does wind up working out in our favor. Tesla, and I'll throw over to Neil, talk about Boyle in a minute. Tesla, we did have 374 marked down as our long. The long was 375 right now. But I'm getting a little antsy here. I'm going to put another offer right here at 16s. Take that fill there on Microsoft. Still have 78% of this trade left.
NASDAQ's at high of day right now, busting through. You mentioned USO going through VWAP. We're trying to get through this flat bottom here, which if it's a flat bottom, I'm going to put a bid down. It'd be just under the 1% mark. 210 on AMD. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. There was a quick wick down to that 206 level, but immediately snapped up to jump into 207.5. So it might just have to be VWAP for that. And okay, Intel, that's now $47 for Intel. Intel's now up 6%. You've got to be kidding me how strong it is. The other name on the list we didn't really talk too much about was the metals. Silver has not broken out yesterday's high. It's red into a green market, which is a bit different, but it's really just a breakout of that top that I was the most interested first. Still hasn't happened yet. I like to support it. Put in a nice bottom here, which coincides with the 67.4. So the only thing different with silver is it's now shown a support level, which coincides with yesterday's. So I might look to also buy the dip if silver doesn't give us this breakout trade that we're about to get. But market through highs, USO just broke through VWAP. Boyle's about to take out the low of the day. And Intel, there's no chasing this move. It didn't seem like that big of a story, so I don't think chasing a $7 move on Intel is going to make a lot of sense here.
Thanks, Randy. The move would have been what we wrote down with Apple.
Percent move.
You know, this Apple was 254, man. We wrote that level down right here on the note. The problem is it was right there off open, and I just didn't want to play with the market, so I chose Microsoft, which made the move down, but definitely not strong like Apple. So I feel like we made the decision to take Microsoft, thanks. And although it's still $1 in the money, we're still happy with it. Apple would have been $1 as well, but I might have been a little more confident with the share size on Apple than I was on Softy. We haven't traded Softy in a minute, man, so nice move there. You know, it doesn't look like it really wants to hold too much. I'm gonna take out another piece up here at 90. Okay, well, I'll just offer, okay, well, there it is. We offered 89 and got filled right there on NASDAQ. I don't know if you saw that, but there it is. So now we'll exit. Now we have 75% left, took out 2.5% right there. That's what I'm gonna try to do with these tranches now, not take out like 10% every time. Try to let it go a little bit here. So we're 75% in the money right now. And with that being said, let's put an offer. Oh, well, there it is. We put an offer. Let's see if it can take us out. Now there it goes back there to the upside. So boom, yes, sir. Thank you, Assassino, as we're making some cash. Oh, that was Joe over there. What's up, Joe? Much appreciated over there, my guy. So there goes Microsoft right now at $1.50 in the money now for Microsoft. And we're happy sitting here trading this. If there's any questions you guys have for us, please either put in the chat. We'll try to get it to you.
Trader 6 just asked a question.
Good.
It's an easy answer. Nike is not at an all-time low. It just seems like it's at an all-time low. If you zoom your chart out far enough, you will be able to find some bottoms on Nike that are lower than this. But it's now down 13%. It was the guidance that was an issue. We talked about this. Really, the valuation's not even that great. It's not cheap enough yet. You probably have to go to the monthly should be able to do it. There you go. So the last time we were down here was 2016, but you can see Nike has been much, much lower than this before. So there's no bottom on Nike that you can point to. It hasn't been any pops to be able to really fade this thing as it just holds on to VWAP, but there might be one coming up in energy. Because here's, Randy just said XOM. Well, you might not want to look today at XOM. If you're getting a bounce in USO and that comes back into the volume weighted average price, that can give an opportunity as Boyle tagged low of the day here to try to jump back in. That's not even at VWAP yet, but it did tag the low of the day, looking for this to get back into the volume weighted average price before another salvo into the downside. Neither AMD, like both of these charts, like this is the AMD chart, 206 is a distant memory at this point. Intel is basically saying what VWAP, we don't care. That's $1 away, which is again 2%. So not chasing Intel, it's gonna have to show me higher lows if we're gonna be involved in that long. So yeah, right now the best, I think, chance is a reload in Boyle and press to the low of the day, or we can maybe pick up some Nike. Silver is not breaking out. And iBit, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is weak, everybody. Like we just lost a bit. See, I was like, I can't get excited about this because of that trend line. Like the market's going up and at the highs, and Bitcoin is losing VWAP right now. I told myself, if it cannot break out this high and we cannot break 69, that trend line doesn't break and we're under VWAP, I should be short this regardless of what I think is happening because it's showing me that it's relatively weak. So I got to be able to stick to that. If we're not taking out the top, then Bitcoin is a short. Can't imagine what Robinhood's doing.
I'm still bitter about this USO. Damn it. Darn. I mean, we definitely... This was like one of the #1 things that I had on my mind today. And it's just, I was sitting at 126, and even when this happened, like we were there, we were telling you we were at 126. My idea was to short between 126 to 127 there on USO. All right, man. I mean, we're coming into a level here again, and if this doesn't hold on our good friend Microsoft, then we got to get out. So we're gonna try it one more time to try to buy a couple more price levels here. If it gets into 370.50 again, we could try that. But we're right where we were right now. Like I said, we only got out of 30% of this name. So this will be a loser if it comes back in. And I think we might have just got a little too excited with some of these longs. Well, here it comes. There it goes. Did it even? Okay, I guess it broke earlier than that.
Small capper from the watch list this morning is halted up 375%. Is Cyclerion Therapeutics. Actually feel pretty decent, like I might have said that name correctly. Halted at $7.35, almost not immediately off the open, but pretty close to that off of the open here. It was an all-stock merger between them and KRSA. And Corsana. When they combine, check that. When they combine, or if it goes through, the new symbol would be called KOSA. So CYCN
what is
should
going
be
on
open
with this
in
market?
about 5 minutes. The market just did a huge reversal Well, I mean, it did a big reversal, and USO just bounced through VWAP.
Yeah, I know. This is what I'm wondering.
Okay,
so we don't have Adara or Sia here today, unfortunately.
I forgot to restart my thing. I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything either. Brendan's going to do his best to update us with any headlines, but right now I'm just seeing he arrives at the Supreme Court. President Trump right now is going to be very quiet for the next little while. He's at the Supreme Court right now with that birthright citizenship case. He wants it to make it so that who cares where you're born, you cannot just become an automatic U.S. citizen. You have to have at least one parent being a U.S. citizen. So he's there at the Supreme Court to listen to those back and forth arguments right now. So I don't think he's necessarily going to be speaking anytime soon. But what's speaking to me is this market really is falling pretty aggressively right now. So I'm going to try one more time here on Microsoft in and around. I mean, I just don't, you know, it's fallen back in, and we're going to lose the bid, and we already did right now. But I was just trying to think that maybe we only have one more minute to manufacturing PMI. Let's just wait to see if we hold this 68 level. If we don't, then we'll get out of SoFi. This is the level that sort of held yesterday, bounced back into that. It's down. It's red right now. I'm just trying to play strength, maybe back to the upside here, but it doesn't look like we're getting anything right here with Microsoft. I mean, Oracle has also lost the bid. That was down to 148. That's down to 146 right now.
Someone tell Intel the market came down.
Yeah, Intel's on its own thing. Apple, though, you know, this is the 254. This was the name that we put down on our note, not Microsoft, so I'm a little surprised that I didn't attach to Apple early down there at that 254. But for right now, we're going to hold out on Microsoft and wait to see that number's out very, very soon.
Yeah, and just I think in a couple of seconds, we'll get that to you live. I think, look, USO just did a topping tail candle and is holding underneath VWAP. So if this can hold under VWAP in the next 3 minutes, then that'll be good for Boyle. If it doesn't, I might take some out flat and using USO as a bit of a leading indicator. I was mentioning Intel just doesn't seem to care. It's doing its own thing on the Apollo news. It's slowed down. It just hasn't turned or stopped. It looks incredibly strong down over here with INTC. And Bitcoin still looking incredibly weak. So the next available pop on Bitcoin, I know the market's trying to bounce, but it hasn't proven it to me just yet. And if it doesn't start looking strong, like that thing still says the fade. So Boyle gets to the low of the day, I'll probably take another leg out, look for it to finally really breach that low and get going. And I don't think it will do so without USO taking out 123, which it's at least trying to do so far. The other thing, I'm still monitoring silver. But let's be real, was silver going to make a breakout with what just happened? No, of course not. Like the market just head back underneath VWAP, so did silver. That's not looking any good, at least until it gets to support down here at 67.4. So still just in Boyle, so long as oil futures want to cooperate, and we'll keep our ear to the ground for any economic data. Did you hear? Did you get it?
No, I didn't. I mean, like I said, I was trying to find it out, but I think it might have just been maybe the oil move there that helped it. Yeah. So we did take out, we did get all the way back to the upside there. We took a couple outs right there, one at 75 and then one at 90s, or maybe it was 85 or something like that, on Microsoft. So we're in a flat zone right now for our trading on SoFi. Let's see if it can somehow battle back up to the upside. All right, man, SMR. There's a couple names that took some dumps right there. SMR, downside again, boom, trying to get going as well, but I didn't even looked at it. It's at yesterday's closing area there, SMR. So this could be a look there as well. Netflix actually was one that made a move lower here. NFLX, look at that, from 97 down to 94 and change. Trying to find its base now is Netflix. It looks like it might be bouncing right here off your 200 period moving average. So that would be something to look at for here, 94.50. 94.50 on NFLX actually coming in right here. Again, that's not horrible. Is that yesterday? Yeah. So this is yesterday's level that we held. Maybe this happens again right there. So nice little post up there, 94.40, closing yesterday at 96. So you got about $1 or so on the bid here if Netflix wants to hold. So watch out for that one, 94.50 there. Not a horrible level for Netflix. We talked about the Mag 7 earlier. I still like Google out of all of them the best, and you can see how this one's really starting to go upside again. So it looks like Apple. So they're still hitting the software, like they're still hitting NASDAQ, they're still hitting NASDAQ names like a Microsoft, probably a CRM as well today. I think the IGV, yeah, look at this, downside. So here's the IGV, I'm in Microsoft, so I'm in completely the wrong name as we look at the IGV here, that's for sure. Look at this, man, down 1.4%. So
Oracle's breaking.
Yeah, they're all. Oracle's one of the big parts of IGV. The number one, actually. Remember, we looked at that. Oracle, Palantir, also part of the IGV. So right now, the software name's getting sold out like crazy. I'm not even really sure why.
Looked like Amazon looked pretty solid. Breakouts just aren't happening. If you were looking at any breakouts this morning, I guess outside of Intel, obviously Intel was a great breakout. Who would have known? Amazon's about to go red here, and it's into some significant support. So this is. Didn't think that was going to hit. Boyle just hit the low of the day, so I did take one more leg out there. I want to see some kind of a turnaround candle on Amazon or any of those longs before catching anything. So you've got another like go into VWAP and press into the low. If we come back into VWAP, rinse and repeat would be the play. Oh man, I just looked over to see crypto where we're going, or Bitcoin where we're going, and reminded myself, is Robinhood holding prior day high?
Oh yeah, Robinhood.
Nope. That's very close to red as well. That's likely going to take, this is a problem. I know Robinhood is not SoFi and SoFi is not Robinhood, but you would at least hope that if Robinhood hadn't turned red yet, that SoFi hadn't just dropped 1.5%. That last candle was 2.5% in the last 5 minutes. SoFi is dropping like an absolute rock.
Is it? Oh my God.
What's weird is look how weak we are in some places. Look at USO. Is oil screaming up right now that I don't know about? No, it's not. That's the weird thing about some of the names that are getting smacked here. And if we're not going to be caring, if certain names aren't going to care too much about what the oil futures are doing, then we can't care either. So you can't go over there thinking, yeah, well, just buy the dip in SoFi because oil futures are still trending down from the open. No, SoFi is doing its own thing the way Intel is, just unfortunately in the wrong direction, unless we missed a story, which I will now check for because SoFi seems a little extreme to me. But
it does to me as well. Oh, shoot. We almost, so we, our average price here is 360.
I just saw something here.
Did you? Okay. Our average price is 369 right now on Microsoft, and we just got some out a little north of that. I'm still waiting for, I'm at 369.25. Maybe we can get something out there for a quarter and then try to hold the rest, man. I mean, I'm trying to see if we do get a little bit of a bounce back, but that move down in the IGV does suck, and not a good move there today. Fed's Muslim. Speaking right now. So is that what you found?
No,
it's on SoFi.
Okay. So there's a story from this morning that they've basically scheduled a call to discuss Q1 2026 results for Wednesday. That's the only thing, is they basically scheduled this. And you have to wonder if the market's just like, you have some explaining to do to muddy waters and you're afraid. That would be the first place that my mind goes to, would be that. But SoFi, I'm not trying to catch it, but it doesn't make any sense. Intel, sorry, this is not going to dip today. In all of that, Intel just continues to break higher. I thought at least this last move could have got you into VWAP. It's just not going to be the case. It's very disappointing that we weren't able to catch any kind of a dip into Intel. So I'm just going to go back over to SLV because at least this is holding the low. So that last little press that we just had in the future, it still hasn't broken that 67.40 level. It's starting to come into it now. So I feel like unless there's some random pop in Boyle to get a reload, it'll be SLV off support at 67.40 that we'll be able to get. Yeah, that sucks for SoFi.
Yeah.
It's muddy waters. I'm not a huge short sell report fan, but they've been, at least price direction wise, they've been pretty right about that.
Yeah, no, I'm long SoFi, so I don't
same. I still own
like
shares too.
Maybe I'll buy some more today, but yeah, maybe we need to let that water get a little less muddy around on that stock right there. All right, I'm going to take some more out, man. This is a big win right now for me on Microsoft. We're going to be obviously back to Greensville now on the day and on Softy, but it's position pending, right? I still have 75% of this trade. As I'm waiting for 70s, I'm actually at 96. All right, now I'm getting a little anxious. I'm gonna punch them out there. Okay, there we go. I just crossed down. There we go. We get it anyways. Yes, let's go, man. Now we're back into that dollar club there, off those bottom candles. One more time. So there it goes, man. Let's see how high we can get for Microsoft. I'm at 370.40 right now. We'll see if we can get going here on Softy back there to the upside. I mean, it's a nice bounce there on the overall market. So yippee-ki-yay. There. So we'll hold off on that one, Randy, in the background, or Russell, whoever mentioned that one. Everyone knows where I was going.
Everyone knows the line.
All right, so what I was going with there was, instead of just being obsessed with one stock, we could have been obsessed with multiple. Look what we wrote down for the bottom of Tesla today. 374. So here's my note. And this is why I think you should check out this sticky note. I might not be trading them all, but at least we have those ideas. Watching the 374 area. So where's Tesla's bottom today? Let's check this. 374.10 or something like that. So there's Tesla's bottom right into 374.08. So nice little move back up into 376. So watch out now for that hold. Looks like it may have been the bottom for now. But like I said, man, with President Trump just at the Supreme Court, I'm not expecting much to come from this market right now as far as President Trump it goes. And we do have an up 1% day. So Tesla being up, that's gotten faded out a little bit. I still like the long there. I hope you guys are long 374. The other name that we wrote down that we didn't take was Apple at 254. That's going to come back in, it looks like, right now. The name that we don't write down is Microsoft, and that's the one that we have. Then we have USO and Oracle. We already looked at Oracle, man, and this is why we didn't want to sit there. And, you know, shout out to Adara. If she was here, she was telling me, don't go long on Oracle, and we didn't. But there's 148. It looks like we nailed the level. Like there was some back and forth, and then eventually there was, whoosh, we're losing it. Now you're down into 146 and looking like we want to go just that little bit lower. Look, we can't celebrate being victorious on a stock and then let it go all the way back. So we'll take it, there we go. We'll take another route at 80 there on Microsoft and wait for the moon if it does happen today. Still early.
Well, if oil continues to trend, if energy continues to trend down, I still feel pretty solid about it. I just don't love the fact that we're not getting the real press through VWAP here on the Qs. We've been wicking this top through the volume weighted average price on both of these 15-minute candles, and if we can press through in this next 5 minutes, I'll feel a little bit better about it. Like even silver, like we got a higher low. We take our first trend break to a long side. If it loses a prior bid, then I got to jump out of it. It gets close to VWAP, but no cigar. And this is all with energy doing, I don't know, it's doing what you want. Like USO's back down into the lows, so that's trending down. That's meant that I've been able to short pops into VWAP on Boyle. That's holding trend to the downside. You're just not getting the follow through in the overall market. In Bitcoin, yikes, right back into the low. That last bounce couldn't even get BTC back into iBit back into VWAP. Obviously, Bitcoin's a 24-hour market, so VWAP's a little different there. But if we can't get back into VWAP, I don't even know if I'm going to end up short over there in iBit. Also, let us know what else you guys are watching, because I see and appreciate everyone throwing in the chat. Like you have like SNDK, which is breaking out the top. We already showed you Intel doing its own thing. You're going to have Micron above VWAP and trying to go 4.5%. This looks incredibly strong. So there's lots that's actually doing so much better than the overall NASDAQ. Marvell may not be at the highs, but it's up 4% and it's above the volume weighted average price. So there's a lot that's looking strong. It's just not necessarily where you might have expected it with this bit of a flush in oil. Just get a quick look back at, yeah, this is what I was afraid of. SoFi is right back into the lows. This is definitely doing its own thing.
Yeah, SoFi may be a small problem.
I still feel like there might be an actual story here other than the one that I was able to find, because this is a bit of a problem here, SoFi.
Yeah, the market is a little bit of a problem today as well. Still up, though, still up. We're still trying to bounce around here. Quick little look at the TQQs. I mean, just looking at the futures, if it's going to be choppy, I also assume the TQQs will be hence choppy as well. So it looks like that's what we're experiencing right now. Look, underneath VWAP, bouncing off the 50 period at the 200 period. This is like basically a time to have some water. There's not much going on. No more coffee, Randy. We've got enough coffee over here. Yeah, TQ's just kind of chilling out. So I think that's a good spot there. Neil's in SLV and Boyle. So let's just have a quick little look at USO one more time, because, you know, the market tends to go where oil goes. We've already talked about that over the last little while. Oil going to the downside. We won't have any of Adara's updates today. So I'm just going to go quickly over the market right now to let you guys see what's been happening. And Sia potentially also not in right now. So we'll see if she can come in a little bit later. Brendan will update us, and so will we. We have news to the ear to the ground with all the news. If you're looking for news stories, man, you found the right place. We're all over that. And by the way, Microsoft back up $1 right now. If you're looking for like longer, hopefully longer trades, that Microsoft one, I still think can base out for us and work. So let's give that a couple minutes here. We saw a big move yesterday near the end of the day. We just got to get that IGV going a little bit. So there's Google, man. Love Google. I think that's a name that anybody could dip by at any level, especially if you are looking longer term. Shout out to Ramin. She just messaged me and said that some of her family, they're near some AWS spots in Saudi Arabia, and some of those reports of those getting hit and stuff like that have been happening there. So she just wanted to let me know that there is some talk there. It's getting not any better, anyways, with some of those drone strikes. That's all. But we already know that. I'm not reporting anything that we don't know about. There's energy, right? And so XOM, CVX, like this is exactly what you want to see if you're bullish in the overall market, right? Energy sector going to have to slow down a little bit. It's been really super hot, obviously, for 26, end of 25 into 26, and just does not slow down. Industrials was the worst performing sector last month. Got going there the last couple days and looks like it's starting the month off correct again here today, with Caterpillar kicking at 3% up. Lamb, GV had some news today with somebody that Microsoft, maybe that's a nice upside play there. And then we said about all the banks with just now moments away before bank earnings. We're talking about the 14th comes this guy, JP Morgan, MasterCard and Visa.
The credit card.
Yeah, we have to look at the credit card names today. Probably a story surrounding Visa and MasterCard today as well as their downside. They have a lot of pressure on them because of President Trump's recent announcement of potentially capping the rates. Interest rate space there for what they're able to do.
Nobody likes those kind of products.
Let me just click on this, and then we'll go and hopefully be able to find another trade. But I was just going to look here to see what was red. So what is this down here? TransDigm Group. Okay, don't know them. $1,100 name, so we're not over there. SanDisk today, wow, up another 7%. I know a lot of you have been looking at that space, that's for sure. Intel, 52.7 on the ISM, 52.7 right there. It looks like it's a little bit, there it is, 52.7 versus 52.3, so a little higher on ISM manufacturing. Not really doing anything to Microsoft, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to offer 70s and get hit there on the way back up, but there it is, the SPY. And if I can get our news scrolling service to work, here I can put it up. But there it is right there. Yeah, nice move for the market there temporarily. We'll see if we can get going. And there we go, thankfully. Yeah, buddy. Boom. Nice move upside. We're getting out on our good friend now, Microsoft, as it pops through.
I can quickly show you.
Yeah, go.
These guys have it. So ISM PMI beat small 52.7 versus 52.3, but prices, ISM manufacturing prices, 68 versus the forecast of 74 and a previous of 70. We also got business inventories, but that was like 0.1 versus flat, and then manufacturing payment comes out just slightly lower than before. So I think the big one would have been manufacturing prices a little bit higher. While that happened, it did cause a push. Oh, but now it's going back up. So if you have stops during a number, sometimes they get run, but there's a reason why you do. SLV just took out that low. Oil, okay, never mind. USO is going up. I was about to say never mind, oil's going up, so I gotta be worried about oil. But that's headed back into VWAP already. And that's with Boyle barely even moving. So this hasn't gotten to VWAP yet. I like the fact that it's lagging USO right now, so I can use USO as a bit of a predictor, at least for now. Also, Bitcoin is finally starting to break out. All right, so iBit is getting through. Oh, let's go handle some business.
We do have a $2 winner right now on Microsoft, and if you're interested in having winners, why not right now? Because markets have been extremely active. For traders, this kind of environment creates opportunity, and you're seeing it right in front of you with Neil and I. Be able to take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and access to capital. And we definitely have that. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your own personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, please visit ttp.com, tradethepool.com, or scan the QR code now to get your 10% off. Holy shnikes right now. I told you this could be a possible long-term trade here, and there it goes, man. Daily goal met right here just with Microsoft. We only have the one trade on today, man. Buying the dips in Microsoft. So if this is the kind of trading you're looking for, you can do that there at Trade the Pool. You can do it here with us at Real Trading as well. But there it goes, man. It's now $2.25 in the money right now for Microsoft. And I'm just glad that when we were down here at 369 and mentioned that this could potentially be that trade. And there it goes right now. Monster movement, monster trade there for Microsoft here today. We did it again, man. There it goes. Another big one. We've been putting these on lately. Our trading has really leveled up over the last little while. So really, really pleased with the way this is going. Focusing on, moves that potentially have this kind of a kick to it, and then getting stopped out when we're wrong. Like we were wrong on Microsoft, or whatever, it was flat. We were down on it because we didn't get as much out there. We only got out 20% or whatever at the top. But then we stuck with it, averaged it back. We just got out at VWAP. So let's not talk so confidently that this thing's going to rip. I mean, it just got to VWAP and we got out. So we'll take that $2.25 or whatever on that one. We take out another little piece now, punch out there on the midpoint. Now we can see if this one can go. But yeah, congratulations to everybody today having a big day, man. I mean, it's been quite a good opportunity here, at least for this name. And I know that you've done well with Boyle and with SLV, so those are both
it's only just falling.
Yeah.
What's weird about this is we haven't really pressed through just yet. It keeps on going to the low of the day, which is exactly what USO is doing. So you're holding downtrend, but we're not actually busting through. What you would not want to see here is, unfortunately, this is what it is. USO is attempting to break. The high was right at about 9 o'clock, and we got a trend line. If this trend line breaks, I'm punching out of Boyle because this is my leading indicator. So this now breaks VWAP, it'll be a trend line break. It's holding the trend line for now, so Boyle is kind of just continuously sliding in. But if we get that reversal, I'm not going to feel that good about the market. And the place that I'm looking is, whatever. For Intel doesn't want VWAP. It's going to be iBit. And I didn't want to be short this name, but if USO breaks that trend, iBit's at VWAP. So it's a short underneath VWAP, and that's just kind of how it's going to have to be over here for this, because you're just not seeing that. You're just not seeing the strength in Bitcoin. Look at Micron's up 7% with its 6 PE. I guess everyone really, really wants to buy the dip. Careful for the 370 level on Micron. Let's be real. We said this 2 days ago that Micron needed to break 370. So when it gets into that spot, it's the same thing. If USO decides to reverse trend, you're going to come into some monster levels for a reversal. So as I'm watching USO at VWAP, it's going to be, whoops, I keep typing Intel instead of iBit. It's going to be iBit. iBit's either going to give me the short off of VWAP on that trend break, or maybe we can go back to the original plan, which was hopefully to be getting a breakout into the top. But for now, if we break this volume weighted average price here, I try to jump into the short over on iBit. We'll hold on to Boyle because that just seems to be working, at least for now. But USO is showing some signs. Despite the market going up, USO is showing some signs of strength, I want to say, but it's kind of muted. The other thing I want to ask is, let us know what you guys are watching, but make sure you put in type that $ so that when the visualizer gets popped up, we can have a look and see what the most interesting names are, because I'm a little bit surprised. I've seen people type CYCN, but it's far and away the biggest. You got Micron, SanDisk, which doesn't surprise me, and then Riley down 7%. We like Riley B Financial this morning, so keep them in there. That's one that I can't remember the last time we even called up Riley Financial. Microsoft makes sense, Tesla makes sense, Neo had deliveries this morning, Alphabet always, Intel had news, ARM is moving, alongside Marvell it's been moving pretty well. SoFi, unfortunately, is going to make the list because it's a piece of you-know-what. But yeah, Riley, I believe, did they report this morning? I'm going to say they might have. Not one that we usually follow, and down 7%. But yeah, keep those names coming in there. I think somebody that might have wanted to buy Riley after market just got rinsed. Whoops.
All right. Just looking to see if there's any other opportunities right now. I mean, Amazon was such a good one. I mean, Microsoft is a banger. I have no problems. We're $2.50 in the money on Microsoft, so.
Gotcha.
Randy, it is what it is. Magna, yeah. Wake me up when Magna starts trading like a stock that I'm actually going to look at, Randy. I'll look at Magna in a minute over there. I'll look at Rivian. Randy wants us to look at Rivian every day. But look at Amazon, man, 208.50 down there. So that was a really good play. You know, these are dark pool wicks, so I don't really know to respect those that much there. We did get, oh no, we didn't. We just missed 371.40. That was going to be my next out. But look where Amazon came right back into, right? Like right into 208 again. So that was a great long. I mean, we did talk about some of their assets being hit there in Bahrain and in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, 208.50 or so down there for Amazon, a great little long. Too bad, but that's a good level to look at. And, you know, the reason why I look at these things is just because tomorrow's another day. Like, I'll be here tomorrow. I hope you guys will join us as well. And it's just a matter of trying to put on bigger trades every day and better ones. So just looking at that, there it is right there, 208 and change coming through for AMZN. So good level there, maybe a top take as well. But if this market keeps on sort of struggling here at the top, maybe this is a potential short right there. We did have Apple long at 254. That's bounced off a couple times now. I think this is one that I wouldn't mind grabbing if it does come back into this area. So something to talk about right there, 254 and change again. I might just, I'm gonna take another piece out, and I don't want it to let everybody think that these are huge pieces, man. Like, if I can get out 2 or 3% at a time here on Microsoft while still trying to hold that base, that's like what I'm talking about and what I'm trying to do. So hopefully we do get that bounce up. But look, man, we bounced off VWAP. That was my best fill there, and we're not able to get anything else at all. So hopefully that will come out. There we go. We take a 55 fill there as we keep on going. So.
If you had invested $10,000 into Nike stock 5 years ago and held it today, you would currently have $3,441. Well, the good news is if you invested in Microsoft around 10 years ago, I don't know the exact date, then you wouldn't have lost that much money. You'd be flat at least if you invested in them. I believe it was at least 10, might be 11 years ago. Look, Nike sucks. It is what it is, and we're down 13% today. The guidance was poor. They still have concerns over input costs, and it's not looking very good for them at all. And there's no easy way to say it, but they're not the only name that's bleeding. We talked about Lululemon being another name, although Lulu's up today.
It is?
There was a small positive catalyst for Lululemon. There was if I can try to find it.
I think Lululemon
they scored a
Marvell.
legal victory. There was a federal judge over. Here it was. Here it is. They scored a legal victory. Federal judge overturned a jury verdict in Nike's patent dispute. So Lululemon's actually up 2% on that relative to the destruction that you're seeing in Nike. Let's just call it.
Well, that's earnings. Nike is.
Yeah, call it
I think
spade a spade, I guess is what Shree said.
I think you might have missed a story there. Lululemon investing every single dollar they have in Marvell. I mean, look at Marvell up 7% right now. Everybody just chanting it in the chat. This is single-handedly paying for like everything that I spend money on. I mean, this is just Rip City right now, man. We love some Marvell. I mean, we've been forget about, I mean, sure, there's that competition, whatever, where he picked Marvell. It's a great pick. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, we've been really pumping the tires of this stock for a minute. I bought it before earnings right here is when we first started talking about it was right here when we first started talking about Marvell in the summer. Right before I was already long down here, but this is when we really started talking about it, right before earnings. And I remember buying it at 70, and then it was like whoosh, it went down like 14 or 15%, and it was actually thankfully it did that because after we just used our 2-day rule there, our 3-day rule off earnings, and then once we were able to get that, we kind of loaded up into there, thought that we had some support, and then it really popped, and then we were lucky enough. Like, these are $60, right? This pop right there in a month and a half is up to $100. So that's like 50% pop right there in just a couple months. Then we fell back in and was able to buy it again down here. And then pop goes the weasel to the upside for Marvell, and now taking out some of those past highs at 103 and change. So yeah, buddy, right there for Marvell as we continue to ride the $2 winner right now in Microsoft, and still waiting for 371 to come in. But yeah, Marvell and Broadcom. I mean, I know Sharif picked Broadcom, but even when he made that play, I was like, okay, I'm picking the baby Broadcom with Marvell, thinking that there was going to be a little bit more upside. Nice trade on Broadcom, though, up 1.2%, but does not look like Marvell, right? Marvell's up here right now. This could be a good name to buy as well in the long term. I don't own any individual shares in Broadcom, of course. All right, SoFi, not of course, but I've never mentioned I have. Here's SoFi as well, trying to base. I mean, this name here has gotten waxed. We'll see if it breaks through right there, 1560. Good little level there, potentially for SoFi coming out. Now, if we can break through that 1560, 1565 area, I think we can hold that 21 period moving average right now. Would like to get it longer down in this area, which we may wind up getting. But do you really want to play long with a chart that looks like this?
Nope.
I'd rather it play long through this break right there. So if we can break through 1565, I think we can maybe talk a little bit about that. But yeah, not a strong name today or ever. Seems
no,
like
it's been a hot minute
SoFi.
since it was a strong name. And the muddy waters thing, I think, is something that we're all a lot of people looking past. SoFi has usually had pretty good odds to get added to the S&P 500 recently. And with all of this hangover from the Muddy Waters report, you wonder if that's now gone to the wayside. If that was supposed to be some of the bump that SoFi was going to get, and if they don't get it, you got to maybe look out below when it could go even further. We see Boeing is down, and bouncing off 199, I shouldn't say. The stock that was down was this ASTC, which I'm trying to find news on ASTC, which has halted down once already, but I can't seem to find a story. But it's a small capper, so that could be just it. Boeing, we love Boeing. I think Boeing's headed for a pretty big breakout, at least at some point. It's not imminently yet, but if you look at this sucker on the monthly, all the worst news is hit. It's got a very clean, one of the cleanest ranges you'll see since COVID. Like the identical bottom, identical top, but you've started to make higher lows in Boeing pretty distinctly. Like that last higher low looks pretty good, double bottom, higher low, higher low. Boeing's poised to go. Candidly, I own shares of Boeing. I have not added back in yet because I want to see us confirm this next higher low on the month.
That 200
but
yet?
This one is, well, it didn't really, the break of 200 was.
That's where that's the last time I bought was 200, so it's not like it's.
Yeah, I have shares of this from like years and years ago, and then I have shares from the COVID low. And then I sold some, and I was looking to get back in. I still haven't done so. But I think I'm going to let it get to the 200-period moving average. If it can hold over there, that could make a little bit of sense. AVAV apparently is on the move, some people are saying. I didn't think so.
Is it?
No, well, it's still red. Oh, no, it is up on the day. I just have a bad, okay, that's a bad print. Yeah, we are up 4% here in AVAV. Good look. They had a small story this morning for AVAV. So this is looking solid. But if you look at the daily chart, remember, when this was made as the pick, it was because it was holding this level and holding the 200-period moving average, and it's still on the downturn. I don't want any part of this until it breaks this downtrend. Like, I still stick to the same principles here. I'll get back into this when this downtrend is broken. I still like the stock, but it gave you the win, and now at this point, it's just been a dog. You can't let things do this, and you just sit there holding it. Let it resume the upward trend. If it can do that, fantastic. All right, here comes USO. This is finally when it might break the low. We're retesting the bottom. So spoiler alert, that just means I need Boyle to break the low as USO would break the low, and then this market can take a jaunt to the upside. If and when that happens, we're looking iBit to finally get through the volume-weighted average price here, though it is breaking trend. So I might nibble iBit, give it to the prior low, and see if we can't get going here through the volume-weighted average price, because that actually is a consolidation break. Oh, I just, instead of setting a stop, I just hit off or enter. Yay!
Yeah, it's I've done that many times.
No, because like the stop is like shift and then those, but the shift key, let's just say the shift key sometimes doesn't want to cooperate with me. That is what it is. All right, so we're back in the same price. It doesn't really make a difference. But if we can hold this prior low, let's see if we can break into this high of the day. Bitcoin finally starting to go as oil pressures LOD. I don't believe in building libraries or museums, says Donald Trump.
Why would he?
That seems very random. I don't know why that matters.
Last thing you want is education, my friend. Okay, here goes 360, 371. He probably just means from a federal level, I guess. Okay, so there it is, breaking through VWAP right now. We've got it now. It's, Neil, it's not $1. You might think, well, maybe it was $2 the last time we reported this, but right now it's $1, $2, and $3 up on Microsoft. And I'm just glad I was talking like this with everybody today, was talking about that. I thought this had the chance to extend out for Microsoft there, able to get that. Obviously, we've only have this one look today, but all good, man. I mean, how many trades does it take? How about one right there, Microsoft? So it's going to be a big one there today as well. So Neil still in Boyle, just got into iBit. All right, like I'm looking at my scanner here. We can go over the trade rate just to see what is happening. I don't see anything. We have a little Halt scanner here as well. I'll show you that right now. Yeah, there's really nothing going on halting wise right now. What is MGRT? Oh boy, this Microsoft trade is becoming something. MGRT, okay, so this is Halted. Again, maybe a relatively new entrant here into the Halt space, getting up to 1050 again, MGRT right there halting. We've seen eLab before, haven't we? Elevate Labs. Okay, they halted earlier, right there, up 23%. So another name that looks like it's been reverse split a couple times here, gapping higher there today. That's your look at some Halt names that have been going back and forth there. Wow, did I say $3, man? We're now $3.50 in the money on Softy as everything's starting to blast higher right now. And we just, you know, very, there it is. Yes, we get that 3 right there, 372 right there on Microsoft. So I'm very, you know, risk sort of not adverse, risk compliant trader, that's for sure. We've taken some of these plays over the last little while, man. We've taken Microsoft today for a big one here, $4. We've taken, you know, Tesla. Yesterday we had a big one somewhere, I can't remember where. Maybe it was USO there yesterday. Palantir, 147, that's nice. 9-10% right now, SanDisk. So this is a name that, wow.
Been leading
yeah, they are just bleeding profits now to the upside. SanDisk is just like, you see that. We talked about memory earlier and what memory's been like in the space. I told you that little DDR4 RAM there just was jacked up huge against me and my son there. So I was glad that we bought it when we did, but can't improve the memory space right now. XOM, wow, getting clobbered. We looked at that yesterday as well with ExxonMobil, and we said that, oh, it was USO yesterday because we had that short. Yeah, look at XOM, just bleed. Oh yeah, yesterday I wasn't even here in the morning, and we came in the afternoon and put on that XOM trade, USO trade there. Look at XOM, man, just bleeding there to the downside. You just saw 52-week lows today for Nike. And look at this, man, 52-week highs for our boy Marvell. And that just keeps on. I couldn't be in a better mood. I mean, obviously we've got Softy huge. We've got Marvell huge. Yeah, a super chat coming through. So let's have a quick look at that and see what you guys want to talk about. Yeah, didn't you say David?
They reported.
Yeah.
So Play, they missed on EPS. They lost 35 cents versus 40, making 40. Their sales was 529 million, missing estimates of 555 million. Yikes. So that's a double miss. I'm just not really seeing the guidance on that note. I can't imagine a world in which it's up after that, but certainly it's going to be in play. I like it. Why is it up 18%? On double misses? Okay, well, it could be a squeeze. Initially, the move was down after market, but now this thing is up 18%. I guess it's only so bad, only so far it can go into the downside. That could be it. Oh, just very quickly, everybody. I just punched out of Boyle. We just hit the low on USO and popped back into the volume weighted average price. If that's going to continue to hold those lows, then maybe this low of the day is all we're going to get. I'll re-engage, but I don't need USO breaking back into the upside when it's been pretty range bound. First name, last name with the super chat. I love the show. Learned so much from both Neil and Sean. Thinking about shorting XOM. Thoughts on this, Neil? It's not been a ton of volatility in oil. It's gently trending down. And you're seeing, it's interesting to find that CVX did this yesterday's too, in addition to XOM, where the move down was more sustained than it was in USO. And you're getting a little bit more of that unwind here as well. You're breaking a huge trend. I like these stocks in the long term, but nobody really wants to chase it. Seems like there's room to the downside, at least, going there for you. But Ace is that you're the one that just found that XOM is weaker than oil. futures.
That super chat was like a half hour ago, so I think if as long as you shorted that, then I think
I think you're okay because it's like a gentle downtrend in actual oil futures and a precipitous down move, I would suspect, in both XOM and CVX. That might have something to do with how parabolic they have been. I think it clearly does have something to do with how parabolic they've been. Like their charts look like SanDisk recently, so. I think that sort of speaks for itself. All right, so finally iBit goes. So it's breaking through the volume weighted average price. Now it's confirmed this trend break, so I can start looking long off the trend line instead of kind of nibbling in here. And yeah, I was in and out flat. That was that keystroke error with the stop order. But now I can just respect the trend line instead of the prior bar. So we'll be buying the dips into the trend line, looking for iBit to join the trend to set upside. Like everything else looks pretty good. The market's at the highs. Energy is trending to the downside. We got another super chat in here from Kanchik. I don't know if I pronounced that one correctly. Love you guys. Memory breaking out. Western Digital, SanDisk, or Micron. Typically, on almost all days, SanDisk is the one that goes the hardest. If we're being real, it's 11% today. Micron still isn't at 370. It's up 8%. Micron's got overhead resistance at $370, or at least it's like 369 to 370, and that's right into that level. SNDK is broken. If you go like equivalencies to like the time at which Micron was at this price, that was $30 ago for SNDK. If you're looking at the relative moves, and then Western Digital, I feel like we always ignore them. I don't know why. Why do we always ignore Western Digital? Just because I guess they're not as exciting, not as liquid. That's more along the SNDK move. So I'd say right now Micron seems like it's clearly the weakest of the three, although that's kind of a weird thing to say about a stock that's up 8%. So go memory. Really?
Yeah, go memory, go Marvell here right now. Marvell up 9%. Here today and still going. We talked about this earlier today, and it's funny because we had mentioned a pullback into 100 would definitely be that go spot there for Marvell, and today you are kicking it higher. Yesterday we get that investment from NVIDIA. I mean, obviously they like the business, they like the company, they know how. We've been talking about Marvell for months, but how intertwined they are into this whole data center space. So Marvell finally getting the respect it deserves, and nice upside play there. And obviously you guys know, talking up my own book there, because Marvell is quite a big position there that we just put on basically this year. So we really like Marvell going upside. Eli Lilly today up a little bit, but trying to base out 929 right now 929 for Eli Lilly, trying to go a little bit higher. Still underneath VWAP. I still really do like one of the other names I bought recently, and it wasn't that recent, but it was $200 there for Boeing. Boeing did go up to like 240 or 250 and fall back in. Microsoft's actually having a VWAP moment here. I'll take another piece out at 47s. There it is. We cross into it there. So now, unfortunately for this Microsoft trade, we're getting lighter and lighter, man. So probably under, I'm not sure what my max position was at one point down here, but probably about like 25% left right now. So yeah, man, good Steve, good everybody there talking about, let's get the roll call going. Let me see who's in this chat, but it's a good thing that everybody over here putting these dollar signs. This is what I like to see over there, Steve M, man. This Marvell trade, yeah, you are definitely on to one there if you bought this off the open. Now just remember, like the story was yesterday. Obviously we're getting this sort of bump up there today as memory and the whole space and sort of all these part supplies and whatnot, probably Corsair maybe from a gaming side of things, maybe going upside as well right now. But you could start to see here, and a big shout out to everybody who's part of this chat right now. What's up, Andrew Chow and John, and Mercy wants to talk about Circle right now, Pops Mafia. Yeah, we miss Adara as well, not back until Tuesday. So we'll see Adara coming through on Tuesday as she's got some time off right now. With this Marvell move up, hopefully I'll have some time off coming up soon as well. Yo, what's up, Hugh Jassel? We like that guy right there. Good name. What's up to Green Saber? Everybody who's a member, I'm going to try to shout you guys out as well there. Big 40 nephew, Levy as well. Green Saber coming out there. Ryan O'Day. Shout out to everybody in the chat there today. Yeah, King Clutch as well. So yeah, thanks. And everybody on TikTok as well. Thank you for watching us over there. Shout out Bravely, that's been sort of monitoring that for us, TikTok. So, thanks everybody for watching, and have a good day with us. And I hope you guys are going to get ready for Obi and Joe. We call them Joby. They're on the midday. They'll come out and hopefully put together, or will put together a good show for you as well. But yeah, man, thanks everybody for watching. And you can just see, I've only been in one trade, man, looking for those best setups. And I think we got one in Apple at 254. This could definitely be something that's a little interesting to me right now. I'm a little concerned that it's not doing anything, like I'd like for it to maybe tank into 254 and then, see that, but just this little drip bleed in here. Let's not go long. Let's wait to see what happens near this close of 253.80 for Apple. Tesla was the trade that we liked was 374 on Tesla. That bounced off a couple times. This is the name that we wrote down on the note, 374. So we pegged that perfectly there on Tesla, but don't do anything about it. But that's only one trade for me. Neil could probably review more. I know he's had more than me, but just Microsoft today. And yeah, should have probably been in that Tesla. And the other idea that I had was Oracle, and that just fell right off the open. So we didn't even get a chance really to even think about buying this 148. It came in, and right now maybe this is a decent bottom now for Oracle down here at 146. I could get involved with that on ORCL maybe for a long 146.
Yeah, so before I go, I got market's at the high, so I'm going to put a pull up in a quick little second. But the only new entry, we got a little reload on the trend line here for iBit. So it's still holding trend. We're able to scalp into the highs. As long as it holds its line, it'll be dip and then into the top. Boyle was the right decision to get out. Well, at least it seems like it. It's back into VWAP here with USO not doing anything distinctly different. But USO is very close to breaking that volume weighted average price. I think that's going to be an upside for the longs. But as the NASDAQ gets into the tops, I want everybody, first off, we'll start the voting first. And it's a simple one. Are we taking out the high of the day? It's the morning highs on the Qs. So we're a little bit further, we're a little bit away from the morning high because that high got made in the pre-markets. But are we going to break it? Simple yes or no. So you type 1 if you think we're taking out the highs. You type 2 if you think that we're not. So we'll keep it relatively simple. And again, you don't have to close up here. This is just, do we think we're breaking it? Because we're there right now. We got 30 minutes until we fire you over to the midday. So I think that's enough time. If we don't break it by then maybe we're not breaking out that high for sure. So let us know what you guys think in the chat. It's somewhat close. 58% right now, 55%. It's close enough to 50-50. There's certainly some skepticism that we can take out these highs. The market's up 1%. Things have looked pretty strong for the majority of the morning. And let's just show the cues for everybody in here so you can see we're pretty close. We've been trending up here pretty decently. Just heard we have a build on crude oil futures of 5.4 billion there. And then gasoline was actually a draw on gas. But for now, it's still looking like 50-50. So it's just like the other day. Even though the market had rebounded, it was like we had 9% of you that thought, hey, this was the bottom, the bottom's in on the overall market in the long term. Even today, in a day that we're trending higher, and pretty much we're right at that top, half of you don't think we're going to be able to get all the way. Interesting. I think we're headed there.
Yeah, okay, yeah, 50-50 there. Yeah, I mean, the market's going to take it right now, so whoever voted no, I guess.
Well, not yet. 24, we still have 30 points to go.
Yeah, 24, I have it at 24.211, it's at 24.2.
I'm talking about the morning highs.
Oh, you're talking about this? Okay, yeah, back there at 8:30. Yeah, I mean, maybe we can get up here 24.250. I think it's going to happen anyways. So a nice move there. I mean, hence why we're long. An absolute monster trade there with Microsoft, man. I was thinking about getting into some iBit. It's too bad because I should really be long iBit down here at 38.50. A marker, when it was down here, we were mentioning this on this move down. We did like iBit long today. 38.50 definitely prints, and that would have been something to take for sure. And I'm glad that you're at least long on that one, but right there, iBit creating a nice trade higher. I'm just talking the same talk here. I'm going to wait for Microsoft to go. All right, silver. Let's have a quick little look to see if silver's doing anything. Like oils, the trade might already be over for oil. So, you know, it's making, USO was one of the #1 names I had for a trade idea today, and that was going to be short. And we had just missed it. I was actually offering, and right when it happened, I was there talking about it. We were offering right here on USO at 26. It's the level that we wrote down. We missed it once, and then we missed it again. And you know, you never know the exact prices, especially when you're trading an ETF. I took the shot there, hoping that we would get USO up there, and we just didn't. And there it is, right back into the day's low again. I still like this short if we can get to 123.50, 123.80 or so there on USO. Might be worth a little look-see over there. So that was a good one. For USO. Nothing else is really hitting on the scanners, man. SMR, silver, we just talked about that. Coinbase, maybe. Let's have a quick look at Coinbase, see if there's anything going on there. I mean, with crypto, we just looked at it. So with crypto kind of flat-ish, not super excited. Yeah, there's Coinbase getting hit on the VWAP scanner. So there's VWAP right there at 175, bounced back down through VWAP. So that's something to potentially look at. But, you know, other than that, man, I mean, Tesla 274. Oh, we can look at Rivian 374, sorry. That was another price. We should be $4 in the money, but we'll take it on Microsoft now. The Q's definitely bouncing back off that, so that's a good look there on that poll. See where you guys think that's going. One more look, and then we'll get back over to something else. Which was it? I can't remember now what we wanted to look at.
SoFi.
Rivian. Oh, SoFi still taking. Yeah, I want to look at Rivian because we just did talk a little bit about Tesla there. Yeah, Rivian downside right now, still up 1%. Okay, but the market's pulling back.
Intel's up. Intel's at resistance right now. So Intel up 8.5%. They bought back a foundry. Well, they're buying back a foundry play from APO. It just turned at 48. This looks like a temp top that is trying to break. You're not going to have an all-day trend that is clean because that was a ridiculous spike off the open, but this is confirmed under the trend line for a couple of minutes. And I just noticed it now when I was scanning some things. So this actually broke the trend on the prior 3-minute candle, but whatever, it's still here at the same price. So I'm going to jump in. I understand this is one of the strongest names out there, but I like the mean revert. We'll give it to the prior bar on the trend line is like 48 change. It's like 48, probably 7s or so. So we're going to take a reversal here. A mean reversion trade in Intel. And this is one that's not automatic for a VWAP, given how strong it is. But the market's also starting to pull back a little bit here, which could certainly help the move. First stop, I think once you get into the 60s, like just look where the bounces were before on the $0.50 on Intel, and then that's going to matter. I love the daily chart. Daily chart actually looks that looks good again on Intel. That's the best way to think about it. It's back above the 50-period moving average, but this is more just mean reversion because it made that little bit of a trend break, and it's at a resistance spot at that $48 level for INTC. Oh, and Commodity King, yeah, Rocket Labs, ASTS moving. Don't forget, there's the Artemis launch this afternoon. Although it'll be aftermarket, the Artemis 2 launch. Cool stuff, but maybe if successful, well, no, it's going to be successful. Let's manifest good things. So when Artemis 2 is successful, we might get another bump in some of the space names.
What is Rocket Labs sending satellites up there for?
No, the Artemis 2 is like a moon thing.
Oh, okay,
that's not. It's just, I think it's more for the sentiment. Like I don't think that's not specifically like an Astis story or anything.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it's just a sentiment.
Yeah, just to show that they've got some progress happening over there. Okay.
When there's success, you get more spending, and when there's failures, you get tepid capital. Kind of.
Yeah. April Fools today. Anybody thought that the long was going to print all day? Came right back in right there. Again, we take a piece out as we break through VWAP right here. So under 20% left for this trade on Microsoft. It may be a short. Just hearing that, some bombs flying in Tel Aviv again, or missiles, I guess, flying around there in Tel Aviv. Nothing outside of what we've already sort of reported right there today for sort of the war and the inconsistencies that we're getting from both sides, right? I mean, and maybe it's not even that inconsistent. It's just I feel like President Trump is a little more optimistic that something may end sooner rather than later. And you do get it back from that president there of Iran. Saying sure, but at the end of the day, it's that Strait of Hormuz talk that's got me going. And until that is resolved, I don't really see a resolve in this crisis yet. And if that's what President Trump's going to hang his hat on, then maybe we do have a little bit more downside in the market and upside in USO. But for now, I'm going to trade it off VWAP. So there we go, man. My second trade of the day is a short. And this one may not work. Who knows? None of these trades may work or may not work. I'm going to use 124.05 basically there as the top. So we'll see if this short can come in. We'll short it in and around VWAP. Maybe we can get a little bit, let's try to get a little bit more at 124, and then we'll give it, to about 124.25 or so, and see if it breaks those levels. All right, because we are getting upside here, and we don't want to just punch ourselves out immediately all the time here when something goes against us, but we are going to have our plan of action. And I think once we get this, so I'm waiting at 120. There we go. So now we didn't get that price. Oh yeah, we did. Okay. So now my average price is 90. Sorry, 86s. So fine, we don't have a huge position on right now, just under a unit, and we'll see what happens here with USO. Looking for a move lower now, short at 86 on USO, and also watching out for this Microsoft trade that's coming back in a little bit. There it is, nice profit now on USOs. It's coming back just a little bit. Super chat time, what is that?
It's from A. Moihar. Let's be real, we're circling the moon to see the alien bases. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, we're
I thought there was actually something.
I thought you were talking about circle there a little
That's
bit,
what I
but
thought.
yeah, there'll be aliens soon. Don't worry about it. Just close your eyes, you'll see a lot of them. All right, so right into here, that was a good move. So we are capturing a little bit of profit here on USO, man. I mean, we said our stop was 20 cents higher, so we're taking a 25-cent win right now, 35-cent win on US oil. So, hey, man. We were patient, we waited, it's 10:40. There's another one for you coming through again. So as he says, and then Neil will give you another one. And so that's 2 for 2 right now on both with USO and with Microsoft there. So we'll punch out a little bit more to make sure that we do have that profit in there, and hoping for a little bit more of a downside play, obviously. And we'll just get out of half and then see what winds up happening here. 30 cents in the money, we'll take that. And wait for a little bit of a lower bid. And just like we've been doing here on Microsoft, as well as taking some profit where we see profit lie. And for right now, Microsoft has been up here in and around this 371 area and trying to take out a little bit there as well, as we just bump right back up and then take that profit. Holy shit, Neil. Bang! That's what we're talking about, boys and girls. The traders in the building. Nice move there as we get, nice move there for USO to the downside. But hey, man, you got to get out. So there it goes. We put some bids out. Let's just see what winds up happening. There's the crack lower on USO. And hey, we're just chilling. So I get a little excited there to let you guys know that there's a move. But yeah, at the end of the day, there are bids get filled, and there goes the profit machine is right back in. It's another chicken dinner winner. So there it goes, man. So far, so good on this one, as we've now got $3 in the money on Microsoft. We've now got 70 cents in the money on USO, and we just captured some profit down there at 123.07, giving us 80 cents on that trade. But look at this thing bouncing around. Wow, USO, huge move right now. This has been wild, man. How fun is it to trade?
Yeah, well, we always have a rule. If you have, come on, shift key. There we go. Now my order's not even firing out. No, there we go. No, I just had a keystroke. I didn't want to get long in Intel, but for some reason, thank goodness, I was able to get out flat there. So it ends up not a big deal, but it was weird. Like I was not able to punch out for a quick little second. I think I still had an old order that I needed to cancel, but I was reverse long in Intel, which I did not want to do. So we quickly hopped out of that one flat. It did break. We got one take profit, but the second it broke higher, you got to be able to hop out of it for sure. But that is a hefty reversal in both directions. Like I was looking over pretty quickly because as Sean was mentioning, USO was going. I was like, I'm about to get the offer on Boyle. USO was from the low of the day. I'm looking up here. So low of the day, right back into where it was 2 seconds ago. And that's heavily moving back into the upside. And I was sitting on the offer of Boyle. I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm going to get run over. And then I noticed it wasn't moving. So this one actually still looks pretty good. Yeah, Bitcoin's at the same place it was before. But all of a sudden, like the reason why I was preferring this in the first place versus USO was simply that it was relatively weak. And as we just pop back into the highs, this is going lower. So I should not have canceled my order. That was actually a mistake. I should have just sat there right on the offer. Even if this breaks out, I think we got it covered with iBit long, which is holding VWAP. And the market, by the way, for everyone that voted that the market was going to get to the high, you are correct, which was about 50% of you. And we just tagged that high of the day here on the NASDAQ, but a little bit of a reversal play. So yeah, while I was dealing with the Intel mess, my first thought was do not be sitting on the offer on Boyle because I'm going to get run over on Boyle. But that was a mistake. USO went right back up to the top. Boyle just seemed to not even care. So this is going to continue to be weak. And if we get a real flush in oil futures, if something holds VWAP all day long or underneath VWAP all day long, then I'm going to like it. At some point, when you're doing this, you'll get like some of these bigger moves to the downside all day long. For 2 out of the last 3 days, you've been able to short this at VWAP, except for some late day reversals. And even yesterday, once it was underneath the volume weighted average price, it mostly stayed there with one notable exception. So I should still be short this. But when that's happening, and oftentimes, like if you make a keystroke error and you got to have your attention somewhere else, I'm one of the first people that'll just go cancel other orders because I don't want to have to deal with two things at the same time. So iBit, we're back in on trend for this bad boy. And yeah, I got to watch out. You got to watch out for USO. I know Sean's in USO, but that was a heck of a reversal candle. There was no news for it, but the second it got to the low of the day, I'm telling you guys, it was quote levitation. It was right back into the volume weighted average price. So if it's going to hold under VWAP, that'll be good for the market, but simultaneously, you have the market at highs and this trying to press through. That could be a bit of a tipping point here. And I just saw in the chat, someone's like, what is actually happening? You have crazy back and forth. That's exactly the truth. You're basically just crazy back and forth in seesaw action. I should have put in the poll, are we going to have an inside day or not? Because that's all we got right now. Inside day. Same low, same high, same thing with oil, same thing with just about anything that isn't like a memory stock. So if we're going to get this real press through, you want action like this, we're going to need energy to do something. But yeah, weird one there for USO. There was no news that I heard of, and I don't think we've had a lot of headlines that would have caused it, but it did show me something, at least, with that pushback in. For that to come back up 1% and Boyle to just go back to the lows was a bit weird over there.
All right, guys. Yeah, so far so good here as we reload our coffee a little bit. Okay. Yeah, we'll just cover a little bit more oil there. We sit back down, take a 40 print. We'll see. Obviously there, now that I'm seeing this with Microsoft, I got to get to the gym soon, so we'll just exit out of some of these right now. Yeah, we want to say thank you to everybody for watching, and I hope you guys have had some of these, big trades on today. I think we've had a couple good ones for sure right there right now. Possible discussion about ceasefire, of course, is what they're talking about right now. So we'll have to wait to see. I'm going to put a bid there again as I'm just, I don't really know where oil's, oops, I'm sorry, I'm on Microsoft still. I don't really know where oil's going, but we'll take another bid right there. These are like basically the best prices we've gotten. That just bounced again off of the best price that we've gotten, which was 123.10. So yeah, I mean, everything seems to be very unclear about what's been happening right now. So I don't know if President Trump is out of his little...
just chopping
he was at the Supreme Court today about that U.S. citizenship bill there, and as soon as he comes out, he's going to be questioned about everything, so maybe potentially he is. We're trying to watch the news. We don't... Adara's on vacation, and we'll wait to see when Sia comes here and sort of fills in that role. So we'll wait to see. She's still doing school stuff. So 123 bottom seems to have been that play right now. But I think we're comfortable holding this. I mean, we've got a long in Microsoft, which makes sense to me. We've talked about that trade, although we're getting lighter and lighter. We now have 15% left of that, so still happy with it. That's really led the whole day for me. But we almost made just as much money on USO low there than we did on Microsoft all day. But it battled back up. If that would have taken out the low there, then, oh boy, that would have been a good one. You do have Obi coming up in 14 minutes with Joe, so that should be good. Right there, you'll get two traders, again, that'll be talking their books and see where what they're looking at here as well. But yeah, nothing's really kicking for me today on any of the scanners. I mean, the market's been pretty aggressive upside. I mean, you could see this sort of stair-stepping, and then again, when news is hitting, okay, maybe it's just Microsoft I should wind up getting out of, but this market, there's the move down on the NASDAQ again. Generally speaking, that will shoot oil up, so there's the move higher. So I'm just gonna take another bid at 60s there and just keep on slowly, I should say, getting out of this trade. I mean, we're short at 124. I was only ever giving it, I mean, we talked about the stops, man, 124.20. So, you know, we'll take that all day, man. 20 cents to make about almost a buck there, so 90 cents. So that was a good one, but that was on a flush, you know, so hopefully we can get another headline that is similar to that. And yeah, I think we're very, very well positioned in all of the names that we have right now. So yeah, again, guys, thanks a lot for everything there. As we know, you know, Neil was trading.
We have a somewhat energy IPO that's actually
okay, good.
For today. It's not that big, but I saw it in the chat there, so I want to shout out to everyone that's mentioned that we have HMH, HMH Holdings. It looks like an oil and gas. Yeah, it looks like they're more involved in oil and gas drilling operations, or at least drilling equipment. So then the equipment side on oil and gas, it's not that big. It's $200 million notionally and 10 million shares. They priced it at 20. The tap is not good. Right now it's indicating an open of $19.75 here. You can see there. So it's indicating it's going to open lower than the issue price, but hey, there's been some pressure on energy, so I suppose maybe the environment isn't the best to come out with an energy-related IPO, or I guess they thought they probably timed it perfectly. And unfortunately, this might be the wrong day to have done so, if we're being honest about it. So it's not open yet. I don't know what time, but you know, we can have the imbalance locator up and we give you guys updates. I can't imagine an early open for something which is indicating to open a couple of percentage points in the red and have people lose money. So maybe in the afternoon for that. But it's not huge. It wouldn't be big enough that I actually would take the opening print. I know we would not, for sure, but at least it's something here today. I think the bigger story, well, the NASDAQ's going right back into the highs. Let's see if the energy names can go. iBit, we're still in like the same trade. It's trying to hold above VWAP. It's not really. Like, it's held above VWAP, and then it lost VWAP, and then it kind of regained the trend line, which, that's interesting. There we go. Sometimes that'll actually, you just saw it not actually be at the low, but I just shifted it back. It wicked the trend line, which to me, if I get out and then the next candle holds it, I'll just jump back in. We're still going to play the trend, but it still needs to get to the high of the day and break. If the NASDAQ does it, I expect Bitcoin should do it too. The other thing worth looking at here, and someone said, Neil, why don't you also take the same trade over in BMNR? And my first answer was, like, why? Because BMNR is all trend down, even though the market's trending back up. Crypto turned around, so Bitcoin has turned around pretty nicely. And so BMNR is a dog. I don't know why it's at the low of the day when the market's at the high of the day, but it certainly doesn't make me want to go long the stock. I actually think the opposite. If I see it turn, I want to short BMNR. If I see crypto turn around, I'd rather be short this than ETH. I'd rather be short this than iBit. So I'm going to pay for locates. And if I see a turn in Bitcoin, maybe I get stopped out there. BMNR is the short. It's a dog today. I think the opposite.
All right, Neil, get lunch, get what's for lunch ready. It's almost your time to shine. We'll do that very, very soon, as I don't have the menu. So Neil's time to shine in moments when we do what's for lunch. Let me know when you have it.
I got it.
There. All right, it's time for Neil. Let's go, Neil. What's for lunch?
It's an American flag, everybody. Although I get excited for the American flag when we have, you know what, fried chicken and biscuits is what we had, I think, the first time we saw the American flag.
Yeah.
It's close. It's close, but no cigar. It is barbecue chicken breast, which the thing is, that'll be white meat, which has tended to be dry. Fire roasted vegetables and corn. One of the cob would be cool from these guys once. Roasted sweet potato. That's a yes, so I'm happy with that 1 out of 3. And then mixed greens with quinoa and berries. So that's pretty solid too. I'd give that it looks like a 2 out of 4 of those.
Quinoa, the quinoa might be nice.
The quinoa and the mixed greens, and then the roasted sweet potato. Unless the corn is corn on the cob, that'd be a huge plus. One of these days, if they did fried chicken, biscuits, and corn on the cob, that I'd be happy.
The lunch yesterday and ate one.
I loved it. Yeah, I really enjoyed the lunch yesterday.
Okay, how about you, Katina man?
I wasn't here. How about you?
You didn't. Listen, for me to score something that high, it's tough. It wasn't bad though. I like the glass noodles. I like those rice noodles. Chicken wasn't bad. I'm gonna give it a 6.9.
So the whole idea is you're comparing it to what the usual fare is from the caterer. I'm not comparing this to all of the food I've ever eaten. It gets an 8.1 because it's compared to what the caterer usually gives us. It was one of the better ones.
That's the idea. That's the idea.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good lunch.
The salmon is what we score on the higher scale, but the barbecue chicken, we got the double side, that thorough cook. I think we can maybe head into the mid-7s there.
If it's cooked well, it won't be though. But I do think that there's a chance there for that today. We'll see. Hopefully it's not bone in. Hopefully that'll make it a little easier cook.
Usually,
I just think breast is so hard for so many people.
I don't usually eat chicken breast.
Let's wait.
I know it's healthy, but like in our household, we're get that thigh or leg.
I made wings last night, roasted. So that was really good there. Yeah, the kids were loving roasted wings, Caesar salad. That's it. And
it's now back to you get barbecue weather starting to come in.
Yeah, we roasted them, but yeah, barbecuing would be really nice. Okay, yeah, wings are awesome. Chicken wings, I think that's probably our family's favorite. Okay, so US or thighs, but USO, we just captured a little bit more profit on that one, but not much going on there right now as we'll just wait for more stories. Like I said, man, 2 for 2 day and a big one. We're at a day and a half goal already there. We're at the day with Microsoft, half a day there with USO. That's trading, man. That's exactly what you want to see, and that's what you want to do, right? Hit your goals. All right, Google right there. Nice upside a little bit anyways. So we'll celebrate that move there for Google, up 2.6% there today. Eli Lilly bouncing around. XOM, some of the negative Nancy's here today are in the energy space. Some of the financials. We did see technology services right here also for some reason. Netflix down 1% there into it. We saw IGV getting hit, which is kind of why we went over to Microsoft there. By the way, Obi, we're now 350 in the money on Softy there on a 368 long. So far, so good down there. This name right here, Versix Analytics. So some of the analytic names maybe to the downside there today. We can watch out for BlackRock, or we'll have to see what's going on with Blackstone as well. Netflix. So they're just looking to see what tech names are maybe bucking the trend today. Marvell's not in the S&P 500. Oh man, I guess that'll be happening very soon. There goes USO, by the way. Okay, is what it is. Marvell, a little bit of a pullback, up that 7% there today. One of the strongest names in the market that just boosh, ripped high side. So for this kind of a trade, you are looking for a VWAP come back and then a hold, right, as you go right there back up to the upside. So like I said, we haven't had a negative day in a minute, and today's going to be just another one of those examples right there. Yeah, thanks, man.
It's a good start to the
yeah, it's a great start to the month. Quarter. I know you had that Intel mishap there.
I made a keystroke error. It is what it is. I know what the issue is now. Like one of my shift keys, it's a pain in the butt. I just need to. I've showed you. If I show you guys my keyboard, and this is for real trading.
But it was a shift key though.
No, it's yeah, but I have the option of changing. So this is all the keyboards, like all of these things with the shift. This is the Amex, doesn't really matter, but I can just move. Like anything that's important, I don't need to hit the shift. It's that simple. And when you're trading, and when you're going back and forth, I also have another thing where like my Amex, some of my Amex is different from my NASDAQ. And so what'll happen is if I go back trading, I'll be trading Amex 1 minute, trading NASDAQ. Like the keys are very different on both. But like anything on the shift side of it, I can just get rid of those. They're not necessary. And part of the reason that I have so many keys up there, a lot of these are dark pools and midpoints and things that most traders you wouldn't even care about. So it's just going back and cleaning some of it up. But it is a keystroke error. It was an accidental long on iBit. It wasn't actually Intel. And if I held on to it, then I'd be huge on the day. But there's just no reason to have done that. I was covering a short position. I did not want the long. It would have worked out, but that's not what you do. Because I promise you, if you're into a position that you don't want and you try to turn it into winner, in the long run, it's not gonna work out. That's just the way I look at it. So and I wouldn't want to start the quarter off with a blemish. The last quarter was good. The last few months have been fantastic in terms of consistency, but just one keystroke error, you don't want that to skew things at all. So that is what it is. iBit just by the way, iBit just triple topped up here. So open range, and then the first long, and then the second long into the same high. Bitcoin cannot take 69,000. We're at 68.5. So there's really no breakout happening in BTC, which does mean, see, there's that trend line wrong again. It does mean look for the trend to try to hold. There we are now connecting the dots. Didn't really break when I took the first stop out, so we just jump right back in. If it holds the trend line again, that'll be the volume weighted average price, and we'll continue this slow grind to the upside. And as I said earlier in response to whomever, I didn't catch the name on who was saying you should go long on BMNR. If BMNR wants to play catch up and break this down channel, then sure, yes. BMNR catching up with the market that continues to trend higher and breaking this trend would make sense as a long, but it's still in the downward channel. The way I look at things, I like to engage a trade at a spot that makes sense. And if I'm buying it on what I think is strength, then let it be at support. If I'm buying it on a trend break because I think it's going to break the trend, then let it actually break the trend instead of anticipating that BMNR has to go up somehow because Bitcoin and ETH are going higher. I don't think that's true. Oftentimes, I actually think the opposite. I think that I'm waiting for BMNR to be a good short when I see like iBit turn around. Like if iBit breaks trend, this thing's already weak. Why would I bother shorting iBit when I can just short the weak name?
Yeah, no, I still can't believe people would rather hold BMNR Ethereum than GameStop, but
I'm not convinced that. Oh, you mean?
No, just in GameStop in general than Ethereum. I'm not convinced.
Well, I thought you meant BMNR over ETH.
The only, no, BMNR, whatever. I've talked to Tom about that. He just rinsed everybody, and that's fine. Talk to Sharif about it if you want.
But Tom owns AMD, so.
Oh, Tom owns lots. Tom owns lots. Tom owns mansions, man, built on the back of retail traders. I mean, we love Tom Lee. I mean, that's the dream everybody wants, right? Okay, so there's USO right there. We only have a minute and a half left. I want to thank absolutely everybody for watching. Palantir's been hitting on some levels as well today. Comes back in right there off the open and then just bought up. It's not as strong, I don't think, as I thought it would have been maybe on a day like today when the NASDAQ up 1.4%. Obviously, we have our boy over here, Microsoft, that is now up almost $4, and that's the long that I have today. Just one trade long and one trade short today for me. So this is pretty much exactly the way I want to trade. I want to put on bigger shares and fewer positions. So today we absolutely props up for that one because that's what we did today. So we'll end you here with only 30 seconds to go. And it's been a good day, man. The NASDAQ going out at the highs. So right there, anybody that voted not would be wrong, but it's right there right now. So get ready for that one coming into the midday show. And then, NASDAQ up 1.4, ES 0.9. So as Brennan said, maybe you should have bought a little bit more yesterday. Is the bottom in? Would be very, very interesting to find out. And we're going to find out more and more of that in a matter of 3 seconds because, like I said, man, Joe's got this big new contract, and in there it states that he must be on air almost immediately at 11 o'clock.
Just don't chintz him on the
So we have to do that. So good trading today, Neil. Thank you to everybody out there, and we will see you guys at 2 p.m. Ciao.
I think this empty.
Time, I guess you got